So, my friend, stay a while and listen.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another CPL Coach-Pupil League cast for Season 7. Today, we're going to be watching, we've got 4 matchups here. We're going to be checking out Pacific Fire versus Cheese Police. They're Tier 3 players, duking it out to see who can get some wins for their team. This is from Week 4. We're going to be, actually, it's kind of interesting. We have all mirror matchups today. And I believe, if I'm remembering right, all 3 races are represented. Let me just double check that real quick. Yep, we do have representation from all 3 of the mirror matchups, so should be an exciting cast. First, we're going to be watching some Terran vs. Terran with J to the T versus Nerfingen. Sorry, that's an N at the end there, not an R. Don't know why I was misreading that there. Then we've got Bugs Bunny versus Dada for some ZVZ. Then we got another Terran vs. Terran for character in Crowbar. And finally, we'll be wrapping things up with a little bit of Protoss versus Protoss with SC2 Airs and Shantisquan. So, let's go ahead and get into our first game. Since we've got a couple of Terran vs. Terrans, we might have another 5-hour cast on our hands. Oh yes, and really quick, there was one walkover today, or not today, but in this group. I don't know which team that walkover went for. So let's go ahead and hop in here. Oh yes, and I forgot to mention the maps too. So, quick here, starting on Ascension, we have Nerfingen. There we go, it's finally showing up there on the scene. Spawning as the yellow Terran up at the top, 12 o'clock position. And we have J to the T, aka Waggle, spawning as the red Terran down in the bottom left spawn position. Go ahead and hide that replay progress. So welcome to an early morning edition, at least for me, of the CPL cast. I took today off of work and was like, you know what, let's do a morning cast, especially since Diablo 2 Resurrected early access beta is dropping today, so I'll be streaming that later. If you are interested, you can stop by. Also later today, U-Round, I believe, will be casting the Tier 2 of these 2 teams, so you might want to check that out as well. That'll probably be, I think that's slated to start at 1 p.m. Eastern, and or it could be a little bit later, depending on how this goes. I'm not sure exactly how U-Round is going to work that. So if he is live when we finish this up, we'll go ahead and drop him a raid. So it looks like we don't have anything silly going on here from these 2 players. Looks pretty standard so far. We've got a couple of in-base depots going down here. Now the barracks starting a little bit faster there for J to the T. Scout coming out here for J to the T. Gas not started yet for both players, but there we go. Just getting the minerals and then getting that gas started. So I see a question in the chat about if these are humans playing. Yes. So I often will stream replays and such on here of AI versus AI or AI versus human, etc. The Coach-Pupil League casts or CPL casts are strictly human versus human play. Here, looks like both players are going to get the first scout on each other. Again, Ascension is a 3-player map. Oh, and really quick, because I forgot to mention the map pool at the start. The map order for Week 4 was Ascension as the first map, which we're on. Then Polaris Rhapsody, which is a 2-player map, and then Good Old Fighting Spirit coming up third. So it looks like both players, or at least J to the T, keeping his workers on gas. Same with Nerfingen, so maybe we will see 2 factory play, although again, this is Tier 3, so it could just be that, you know, the players just keeping the workers in gas because it's just easier to do that. Then, you know, taking them off, because then you got to remember to put them back on at the right timing and things like that. The SCV from A to the T did get caught there by the first Marine that came out, and then J to the T catching that worker scout from their Fingen as well. Both of them seeing, okay, we see the first factory. But interesting, so Nerfingen is floating out their barracks after just one Marine. J to the T gets the 2 and is leaving the barracks on the ground. So typically what you'll do in TVT is you use this barracks for some additional scouting, and also just additional vision as well as a floating building, because typically you're not going to be producing a large amount of Marines. There are some rushes that you can do where you might get increased Marine production, and we do see another Marine coming down out of J to the T and a second factory, so it looks like we are going to see aggression from J to the T with those workers still on that gas. So this could be pretty exciting here, especially Nerfingen only going with the 1 Marine, but does get the Vulture, now getting their add-on, and they'll probably get a second Vulture after that. I am a little bit worried about just 1 Vulture, and we're coming up against 2 factory here, but a Vulture just being started now for J to the T, so does have some time going ahead and getting that second factory now that that command center is down. You have that Vulture coming down here to scout. There are 4 Marines, but Vultures are pretty effective against Marines, but 1 Vulture by itself probably not going to be all that great. Looks like we're getting a bunker started for J to the T, which is pretty interesting given the build that they're going for in here. And then I'm not sure if that was just trying to run by, or if that was just move commanded, and then, you know, if Nerfingen walked or looked away from that. Just because of the pathing, like if it was doing a run by, I would have expected it to cut up, but it went down. So, not sure exactly what the play attempt was there. It looks like J to the T going up to 3 factories here. Going ahead and getting mines. I missed if they got Vulture speed, so we'll have to see when those Vultures move. So it looks like they're going for, I think, like a 3 factory Vulture here. Going ahead and walling up a little bit, so perhaps we'll see, well, we're not going to see Vulture Wars because Nerfingen already getting the tank, which is, once tanks and or Goliaths sort of come out onto the field, it kind of shuts down the Vulture War play. So really, Nerfingen looking pretty good here, going up to their 3rd factory already as well, and they have the expansion. So as long as they don't sort of like flub any defense here, they should be in a really good spot. Mine's finishing up for... Why can't I see the player colors? That's kind of weird. I can't see whose queue, like which queue is for who here. That's strange. Not sure why it's doing that, but I believe this top one is for, actually, that's for Nerfingen. So Nerfingen got mines too, and now J to the T going ahead and getting siege mode, but doesn't have any tanks under production just yet. Does have a lot of gas though, so can produce them. We do have a move out coming here for J to the T, but that tank is taking some damage. Trying to get the mines down, but too close to the bunker. The Marine's going to auto-target it. And yeah, J to the T is going to have to settle sort of for a contain here, I think. Not really going to be able to push into this with a bunker and a tank, but that tank could use some repairs, so maybe might get something done here. If that tank also going through the really tight choke here. There is another tank out here on its own. Could be caught by mines by itself, but really trying to fit through the really tight spot here instead of coming through this nice wide ramp. Here the tanks are under production now for J to the T. So it looks like J to the T is going to maybe transition into more of a contain while trying to get the natural up of their own. But Nerfingen still looking ahead to me, both in just the unit count and also supply too, 61 to 50. The worker count and the base count. Taking some damage there from one of the mines. Kind of unfortunate. These Vultures still slow as well. Moving the Vultures out. This gives an opportunity almost for these Vultures to get in there, but there's run straight into the tanks and forced to back out. Meanwhile, did not see, because there's no vision on this path. No mines or anything. These Vultures could be dangerous, but J to the T is going to run into them here. And we'll go ahead and lose those last vultures there. So just have mines on this tight path here that is most likely not going to be taken by J to the T. So, or sorry, by Nerfingen. So that's a little bit unfortunate there, not having that vision. The +1 just finishing up here for Nerfingen. Going up onto their 4th factory. I feel like they could take their 3rd if they wanted to at this point. And with the 2nd just finishing from J to the T. J to the T does have a pretty nice army, but depending on how this goes, Nerfingen could actually end up getting the contain, but I don't like if they try to go through this tight spot as well. They really should come around, down, and then here. Because one of the things that you can do, like, sure, if you get a contain set up here, well, first of all, pushing into this little spot through this tight choke, going to be probably next to impossible. If you can get set up here, you keep your opponent from being able to take their 3rd, and they really have to contest you in order to take it. It's a little bit easier, I think, with the spawn positions for J to the T to do that, because it's a little bit more natural for your units to sort of just come up this ramp and then come up this ramp. I'm not sure why these tanks are sieged all the way here in the middle of nowhere. Could be because they see these vultures here. I have a couple of scans going down, but if we just check the vision, you know, these mines are given vision along this path, and so they do see, Nerfingen does see those vultures there. Laying some mines so that they've got some vision here as well. Good to see some more vultures coming out. They're still slow vultures. The speed upgrade is coming along, though, with the +2. +2 is an important upgrade, if I'm remembering right in TVT, as I believe that is the upgrade that lets you kill tanks in 1 less shot while they're sieged. So here we have the barracks floating in there from Nerfingen, just trying to get a scout off. See what's going on. Nerfingen does have comsats with some energy, so could... Let's spend a scan instead of floating the barracks in. But deciding to do the barracks, and really there's no anti-air at the moment, so I mean, you could probably dip in here with this barracks and then get out of there. Control tower going down, though, for... Actually, they both have a control tower at the moment, but I was going to say that might be an interesting choice. Maybe we'll see like some dropship play come out of that, but Nerfingen also got their command, or their control tower, and hasn't really done much with it. And cleaning up some mines there, very nice. Now we do have the Marines coming in to go ahead and push this away, and we have 4 factory versus 5 factory right now. Looks like a couple of rally points not set. It's alright, but hopefully that gets taken care of soon. And Nerfingen not really challenging this 3rd at the moment. J to the T could take that if they want to. Both players kind of looks like they've stopped producing workers, though. The 3rd has been built for Nerfingen, but no workers there just yet. Looks like a couple are just being transferred now, so... And we're getting some more worker production now to Nerfingen with this base having finished. Okay, and we do have dropships coming out here for J to the T. It looks like J to the T wants to go for that dropship play. Not sure if this barracks managed to see that or not, but there have been a few scans, so Nerfingen might have seen that as well. And we do have a mine coming up here. That could be to keep an eye on that base. And this barracks, unfortunately, it looks like will burn down. Waggle coming out through this tiny choke here. Ooh, that tank getting... Oh, no! Okay, that tank got dangerously close to that minefield there. But now Nerfingen should be aware that that force is looking to move out here. Clearing the mines with the Marines. There is still one mine there, but there should be enough of a mech force here. Another scan to make sure that that's gone. I was going to say there should be enough of a mech force there to sort of clean that up. A lot of scans going down here to sort of see, you know, what's going on. And I like this that, you know, Nerfingen going ahead and just scouting a little bit, making sure there aren't any surprise bases where they can. The barracks does go ahead and get repaired, and then Marine comes over to try kill it, but finds, oh, there's a vulture there too. I think that might have been trying to clear that, so that way they can go ahead and get their drop, but not a lot in the dropships just yet. couple of Goliaths coming out now for Nerfingen, perhaps in response to seeing the dropships potentially. So we'll see where they decide to station those. It looks like J to the T moving up a little bit here. Vulture's going to engage with these with the support of these tanks. Should be able to clear this, and shouldn't need the siege either. Question kind of is though, where are these armies going to engage? We do have the 4 sieged tanks here. With their range, it's going to be tough for J to the T to sort of take that high ground. They're in the way for these dropships, but this fighter mine does see them there, so Nerfingen could be aware of them. There is one that could intercept here, but the dropships look like they're going to get by. Might not have been seen unloading here, but unloading so close to the army, I don't think this drop is going to do all that much. There are some worker kills there, but Nerfingen still with the good worker lead. Gonna zoom out just a little bit more here. We can kind of get a view here because, you know, with this high ground positioning, these tanks in the center here, they're kind of guarding like this sort of general circle. The vision here from the mines could use a few more like out over here just to make sure if anything tries to come up through this way, but there is the low health vulture there to give the warning as well if there's anything that tries to move. Would like to see these tanks sieged though, and really would have been awesome to see Nerfingen just come up to this point and siege and keep their opponent contained there. But like I was saying before, it is a little bit awkward if you're in Nerfingen's spawn to get that sort of contain, because you're just not naturally facing the way that your opponent's going to want to go. And here Nerfingen trying to move up a little bit, but with the tanks sieged as they are, as long as J to the T has vision of this upper ground, it's going to be tough. But they're not floating any buildings there, so they would have to spend scans to get that vision. But they're going to unsiege and move back a little bit here, as Nerfingen is moving forward a little. Both players continuing to play on a pretty low worker count here, but they are, for the most part, floating. Nerfingen has not got their 3rd gas yet, though they've had that available to take for some time. So they are a bit low on gas with the army that they are producing. So they're going tanks, some Goliaths, and Vultures right now, which is going to be a little bit gas heavy if you're producing 2 tanks and 1 Goliath. That's going to be 250. And we do have a move out here down to the low ground from Nerfingen. J to the T sieging up here. No siege from Nerfingen, but Nerfingen is at 2-1, and J to the T is just at 1-1, but he is going to be able to repel this. I feel like Nerfingen might have had a chance to take that if they had just walked on top of the tanks, because there's nothing stopping them from getting directly on them. But that was a bit of an army loss. You can see the supply did even out there for the 2 players, just about. Nerfingen still a little bit ahead, but that did force J to the T to pull back right now, and now they're grabbing the reinforcements here. They do have these dropships loaded up with tanks as well, so we might see another drop play come out of them. Looks like Nerfingen going ahead, gonna take their 3rd, and that's where I was saying, like, if these vultures were here or you had something stationed here, this 3rd could be contested. But J to the T probably gonna go ahead and be able to get that 3rd taken. There are some scans going down here. Nerfingen checking out what's going on. Looks like J to the T trying to sneak around with these dropships here. And looks like J to the T is looking to secure this 3rd. So moving their army all the way back, which really gives Nerfingen a good chance to move their army forward if they want. Oh, some of those mines doing a lot of damage to the tanks here. And the move command tanks there, I think like 1 or 2 got picked off. They're not too bad of a trade there for Nerfingen, who is already up 40 supply again on J to the T. And these dropships, they've been passing over mines. And some vultures just moved right there, so it looks like some very late turrets coming up. We do have some army, though, here for Nerfingen reacting to this. No Goliaths in the main, though. A lot of SCVs here. Not drop it in the main, seeing that army there in response. There is a tank here, though, too. Oh, no, and there's only 1 worker on the natural. If it's been that way this whole time, that might be another reason that Nerfingen has been struggling with the, oh, those mines next to the workers there. That is pretty dangerous. The J to the T coming around looking for a spot to land these tanks. There just really wasn't a good spot here to do so. So maybe gonna drop here or just return home with the tanks. Looks like committing to the drop here. Only 2 tanks got dropped. This other dropship here did not drop. Gonna get some shots off. Trying to get that splash. The splash damage from Nerfingen, I think, killed more SCVs than J to the T actually did with that drop. But, I mean, that's one way to get the worker kills, right? It does cut down that lead for Nerfingen now, just down to 7. And now J to the T positioning their army out here in the middle. I'm not exactly sure for what. As there's no bases over here for Nerfingen. Maybe looking to come at this army from this side? Or try and squeezing through this tiny choke, which I would not advise. We do have an SCV coming out here, though, for Nerfingen, so we'll see what this SCV is looking to do. Another one, too. We got some scans coming down here. For J to the T does see that SCV move there and stops and sees that there's no army there. And we do have a siege coming down here for J to the T, catching those tanks from Nerfingen off a little bit. Cleaning up some of those mines. There we go. Get those tanks re-sieged. Hold that high ground. Science Vessel doing a little bit of scouting on that high ground to see what's there. Perhaps J to the T feeling like they can try and push into this, but supply count for both players still pretty low here. I feel like with this army movement here, J to the T is leaving themselves a bit exposed, which has me a little bit worried, but they are pulling the army back now after that little excursion, and they got Nerfingen's army to sort of realign on this ramp as opposed to this ramp, so did get the army to move. It looks like after that attack, that drop here on the 3rd, it's not mining gas. The natural still just with the 1 gas miner, and actually now the main only with 1 gas miner on the depleted, so Nerfingen's gas is really hurting right now, and it does not need to. Which is going to give J to the T some advantage, but these tanks getting a lot of free shots on J to the T's army. J to the T's supply has been consistently lower than his opponents for this game. The main is mined out, though, was able to get this 3rd established, and only has the 1 SCV on there. And 2 SCVs, sorry, in the naturals instead of 3, so both players kind of shoot themselves in the foot, as it were, with that here. We do have more upgrades coming up. We've got +3 attack coming for Nerfingen, and +3/+2 coming up for J to the T. Scan coming down here for Nerfingen, checking that army positioning. Nerfingen starting to get more and more towards 200 here. The J to the T kind of going with this mobile army here that they're keeping on the move. Looks like they are pushing into this spot again here. I'm curious to see what J to the T is going to try and do. J to the T doing some scans on top of their army to make sure that there's no mines, but they do have the science vessels here for vision. Catching those vultures off that were on move command that looked like there. And Nerfingen here taking over a base on the right side of the map. Does have some units here. Interesting science vessel over there as well. So we'll have some advance notice if the army of J to the T moves over there to clean that up. Something that would be kind of interesting to see would be J to the T sort of force an issue here since their army is positioned here. Just move a couple tanks here up against this mineral line and siege. And then with your science vessels, get vision into the base, and you can sort of fire, I think, on these factories, as well as fire on the troops that come out of it. And that might... Nope, that's not what we're seeing here. I think we're going to see J to the T. They might be blindly checking these bases over here just to see if there's anything suspicious, as they haven't scanned, you know, these bases yet, so... J to the T is not aware of that base, at least in particular. Throwing down some scans, it looks like Nerfingen, I think that was, scanning, based on the vision. Going ahead and abandoning this here, seeing the army there, and oh man, I think a tank there got caught. So just one worker there. Did get 3 workers on the gas there. The Nerfingen just trying to keep an eye on the army for J to the T here. The tank not quite activating that mine, and now the vulture's running in here. And they see that there was a base here, tipped off by those moving SCVs. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to grab that command center, as there does not seem to be much anti-air on the field. Okay, there are a set of Goliaths here for J to the T. And it looks like Nerfingen is going for some dropships of their own here now, and now moving out to the middle as they know that J to the T's army is here. Would love to see them siege up and catch J to the T's army here in the middle, but instead they're just gonna walk past and just miss. J to the T sees that the army has moved over here. And they do make it to the high ground, but leaving themselves a bit, well, actually, I guess not all that open. There are some tanks here that were still sieged on the high ground. Gonna need a few more tanks here if they're gonna want to try and pressure this third, and but enough to repel this back a little bit here, trying to get that engineering bay in position to get some vision. But use the dropship too. Yeah, with J to the T's army out in the middle here, gonna have to come in to fight uphill. Sort of need to do this to squash this push here. Can't let this stay. J to the T taking a lot of losses here, but has 4 tanks here that they could unsiege and have pulled into this. It looks like Nerfingen will hold this high ground and takes out the third. So J to the T is out of mining bases at the moment. Oh no, the SCV's returning back. J to the T's army dropped drastically from that, unfortunately for them. Their army just a little bit out of position what was back here, allowing Nerfingen to go ahead and grab this high ground. But, trying to watch... Oh, the army of Nerfingen getting stuck by the SCVs that finished mining at the natural. Oh no, that's unfortunate. They might be coming back like, well, where's the army that I just built? It's stuck in the base. There's also this factory here that hasn't had its rally point set. It would be really nice to see Nerfingen go ahead and take this high ground. Like, move up. It looks like J to the T gonna try and stop this, and a little bit unfortunate there that the tanks got dropped on low ground. But yeah, there's just enough there to sort of clean that up. Not quite as clean of a drop as you might like. There are a pack of vultures here getting out to go ahead and stop this base, which hasn't even started yet, while a command center is being thrown up here above J to the T space. J to the T getting some long distance mining, does have a bank still. And then that blockage there at the natural getting cleaned up, moving those SCVs out of the way. We'll have a flood of units onto this high ground now. So J to the T's in a bit of a tight spot here, just on the 2 bases. And one thing I'll recommend, if you're having to abandon a base and lift off your command center, and you've got a comsat there that's got enough energy for like a couple scans, go ahead and select it. Just throw down scans anywhere, you know, at bases that maybe your opponent might have taken, or in their main, or where their army is, so that way you spend that energy before you abandon it and it doesn't go to waste. Now we do have a drop coming into the main here, but Nerfingen, I think, saw it, had that Goliath ready to try and intercept, but not quite enough. I don't think this drop is going to do a whole lot though, as a couple of tanks did just pop out before that drop could be executed. And being handled pretty cleanly there by Nerfingen. Nerfingen has the 4 dropships here. I don't think they were seen during that, so we could see some dropship play out of Nerfingen too, but I don't really think they need to. Nerfingen now moving down here onto this ground to clean this up. A couple of defense matrix going down, but Nerfingen really doesn't need to push the issue here all that much. I like this siege back far enough, and then with the vision able to get some shots off here. Let's see, what is there? Nerfingen's at 3-2. And so is J to the T, but J to the T is on the 2 bases here, really needs to break out of this, and I don't think they have what they need in order to do so. I would like to see Nerfingen establish some vision on this lane, so that when those vultures go out, they're aware of that, but J to the T trying to see if they can squeak up onto that high ground there, but not able to. This tank able to get shots off. It is a little bit damaged, would like to see it repaired, but it's still doing the job that it needs to. Looks like J to the T gonna try with the dropships again, but there really isn't anywhere for them to go. Looks like Nerfingen going ahead and getting a few more starports here. There's a physics lab for J to the T, which is not something you want to see in this sort of situation. Looks like J to the T finding a spot to get a drop. There's no tanks here really to defend, so gonna be able to force this base to abandon. There's a whole lot of army just sitting here on this high ground. These tanks, I don't think they've moved for a really long time. And I don't know if I like this dropship play from Nerfingen. J to the T is on these 2 bases that are mined out. You're basically just fighting against the player's bank. You're not really going to be able to do a whole lot with dropships into their bases. At least with just pure vulture. You have a battle cruiser now on the way for, I believe, J to the T. Yeah. And I really don't like 2 bases, I'm contained, let me go battle cruisers anymore. It's something I used to do a lot as a player in TVT, but I haven't talked with a few people about it, and I think also Sublime was talking about it too. Like, you can't support BC production really off of 2 bases. They're gonna take forever to produce as well. Wraiths would probably be a better choice here, but we'll see if the battle cruisers pay off or not. Battle cruisers, I mean, they can be helpful with like tank support to fend off Goliaths and everything, but they're just so expensive to make. And really, like, as we can see, all the gas is being thrown into these battle cruisers. So all J to the T is producing outside of the battle cruisers is just vultures. You could be getting more tanks instead with that gas. So here it looks like J to the T is maybe going to try and sneak out with the dropships now to try and take a sneaky base, but and we have, there's also a pack of vultures that's just been sitting up here. Don't need to let all of those sit up there to watch that base. So now the question kind of is, how's J to the T going to get a dropship over there? There is a path. But are they going to be able to find it or not?
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
There's still a mine here too, so J to the T knows this base is here. That might be why, oh no, the SCV's getting caught by the tanks on the high ground there, getting some free shots. Oof, that is a bit painful there. Looks like J to the T's looking to actually establish the base here. Right up in Nerfingen's face. Nerfingen is maxed 200 here, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. Now Nerfingen adding battle cruisers, I can see with the base count that they have currently. Maybe not quite getting. Not sure exactly why they're moving that there, but it looks like they're gonna have to contend with these tanks on the high ground. Oh, just all the workers being massacred by the tanks there. Bit unfortunate. J to the T trying to do everything they can to stay in this game right now. I'm kind of trying to watch for what, since Nerfingen is maxed out, just what are they going to be trying to do with their army here? We do have a little bit of a drop here that's trying to just cause some splash damage on the tanks and thin them out a little bit. But if you look at it like with those tanks, you know, Nerfingen's still at 197 supply here. Now the battle cruisers trying to come in and do something. They do have +1, which Nerfingens don't have. They're in out a few tanks, but now we have the superior battle cruiser numbers from Nerfingen. Gonna clean up these battle cruisers, and that's a lot to lose. So yeah, you're clearing out some tanks, but you invested so much of your gas into those 2 battle cruisers, and now you're losing them. That's really gonna hurt. Now you're investing more gas into 2 more. So you're only gonna have 2 at a time here. And you just freed up supply for your opponent to get even more battle cruisers. Just kind of watching the army move. It's looks like Nerfingen is going to go ahead and take that mid-bottom right base. Worker count still very low. Well, for J to the T it makes sense because a whole bunch of SCVs got killed here. But even for Nerfingen, like, only 37 workers. Very, very low worker count. Looks like an attempt to push this back here by J to the T. Tank's gonna pull back to get some support from a distance, and now J to the T trying to move up here, but only with 4 tanks. Would have preferred to see maybe all the tanks move up. Because, yeah, you're just not gonna quite get the results you want. Now we do have an unsiege of the rest of them. A reapply of the defense matrix on the 1. So maybe gonna give themselves a little bit of room here. Battle cruisers look like they're maybe on the move, or just sort of regathering here with some of the newly trained ones. So it looks like while this push is trying to move this back, there's a lot of vultures here that could be pulled into this fight too. The battle cruisers here are just going to clean up this base. And with that, J to the T is going to go ahead and give the GG. A well-fought game. 1 going on for quite some time there. And we'll go ahead and get the second game loaded up, which is going to be on Polaris Rhapsody. I want to give a quick thank you to everyone that followed during that first game there. Covis666, Data78641, thank you for the follows. Very much appreciated. Check out those follower emotes I got there. A lot of Terran emotes.
Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
And thank you, Hemperor, like that name. For the follow as well. Very appreciated. We'll get game 2 loaded up here on Polaris Rhapsody. Alright, and on Polaris Rhapsody, we have J to the T spawning as the blue Terran up in the top left. And down in the bottom right, we have Nerfingen spawning as the yellow Terran. So again, just as a friendly reminder, please play your games in top, first, bottom, so that your friendly casters here, friendly neighborhood casters, can use Shift Tab to get red versus blue if they so choose or need to. This color blue isn't so bad on Shakuras, but some of the colors can be a bit problematic with the map background sometimes, and so being able to Shift Tab and have red versus blue can be pretty nice. Gonna go ahead and grab a quick drink here during these beginning stages of the game. I did stay up a little bit late last night, so enjoying a nice Monster energy drink that's sugar-free. Hope you all in the audience have some nice tasty beverages and or snacks. Looks like Nerfingen going for a rather forward supply depot, which is an interesting choice. Makes that supply depot a little bit slower and or hurts your economy for a little bit there. Looks like perhaps Nerfingen trying to go for a wall here. Yeah, it looks like they're going to want to wall this off. Perhaps in response to that one base play that they saw out of J to the T. But yeah, it's not quite producing a wall. That is, though, a very tight space to get your workers, or not your workers, your vultures through. And J to the T sees this and goes ahead and starts to harass one of the SCVs, and that SCV gets selected to go ahead and scout. And then Nerfingen, thought maybe they were going to try and block that scout with their SCV, because it did block it for a moment, but I think there's enough space for this SCV to come out here. Oh no, that actually is blocking the SCV. Wow, okay. Just Brood War things, right? No Marine started. So I like this, going ahead and getting that factory before you even get your first Marine. Workers are still on the gas, so we probably will see another like 2 to 3 factory build out of J to the T. But what is Nerfingen going to do behind this? Looks like they're saving up bank for that expansion. No, going ahead and getting their factory. Okay. Now we do have the Marine coming out here for J to the T. Locked on a unit there. Second factory coming down, so yep, we are seeing another one base opener out of J to the T. Which I'm gonna say in TVT, I typically don't like those the way those one base plays come out. It looks like we're gonna see like a 1-1-1 type of thing out of Nerfingen here. Oh no, actually we're gonna see 2 Starport Wraiths. So this wall just really wanting to. Is that actually tight? That must be just barely tight with just the structures. That looks... See, this is just Brood War things, right? This looks like a worker or zealot or something should be able to fit through there. But they can't, I bet. So this could be a much faster game than game 1 if J to the T is not able to sniff this out. I don't even think... There's not even a single Marine out for Nerfingen. J to the T trying to get that scout off, but ooh, that felt risky opening that. If J to the T had dived in with that SCV, the 2 ports could have been surprised or, you know, spoiled, but they are pretty far back, so there would have been a lot of time to catch that SCV. I think speed was upgraded for J to the T, and J to the T going ahead and getting mines now as well, adding on that 3rd factory. So yeah, this is like a 2 factory build. Yep, and speed is done for them. And just missing that vulture, that lone vulture being able to get in there and get some scouting information. Sees the 3 factories. Stops at the factories though. Could have got some more scout information, but really seeing the 3 factories, the only thing I would have liked is if, you know, if I were playing and I were Nerf Ingen, I would have wanted to try and see, is there an armory? Oh, we do have the first Wraith out though. I maybe would have liked this to have been kept a surprise a little bit longer. An academy going down now. Choice. And not like an armory. There's also no engine. Okay, there is an engineering bay, and I can see the colors this time. So last game, I guess they just changed out a little bit. But if Nerf Engine had kept, I think, the Wraiths a surprise a little bit longer, could have come up with a few more Wraiths. And there is a few Marines here that are going to cause some problems. Meanwhile, trying to counter here, trying to break down the wall, that's just going to take forever. I mean, excuse me, it takes Wraiths a while to kill things. It takes Vultures a little while to kill some buildings as well. Now we've got the 2 Wraiths here. Needs to sort of stop these SCVs that are trying to produce the missile turret. There we go, now targeting them. Trying to get repairs off though. The SCV moving to a spot where it can't quite repair. This turret should be able to be finished, but all of the Vultures that tried to bust that wall being repelled. Getting another SCV back there on the turret. The turret's now finishing up. These Wraiths unfortunately getting picked off by the turrets there. So this is, though, allowing Nerf Engine to go ahead and transition into that 2 base play faster than J to the T. J to the T without the armory, still no mobile anti-air. The Academy got disrupted and hasn't started back yet. Perhaps a little bit of a misclick with this SCV here. Not quite getting on it. Looks like J to the T is going to go ahead and start that command center with those extra minerals they have. And really, these Vultures just trying to sit out here, but there's like nothing to defend them from the Wraiths. Going to go ahead and try and move out with them. Just trying to get away, I think, from the Vultures there. Or sorry, the Wraiths. Here we've got a little bit of a transfer of workers to the natural. Looks like J to the T gonna try and bust down this wall again, but there's now a tank here. Siege mode not quite done yet, but tank protected by the wall here should be more than okay to handle this. Pull it back a little bit and repair it. No. A little bit late on that pullback. It just barely survives with 3, but see, tank plus the Wraith, and it's down to 3 Vultures there already. And these Wraiths back in the main being a big headache. This turret positioning actually might trap units in here from this factory. J to the T really needs that armory. Curious to see if that tank's actually going to get stuck once it pops out. So the turret there is going to put an end to those shenanigans, but yeah, that tank is now stuck. And you'll get another tank stuck there too. So could lift and move this factory just a little bit, but the natural's still a bit exposed here. Well, really the rally point is this Wraith wandering a little bit close here. Gonna take some shots on the SCV building this turret, but there's another one there ready to jump on if this one falls. Meanwhile, behind this, you know, I wouldn't mind Nerfingen just moving with their army up here, sieging up, and just being like, no, you're not coming out of this choke, buddy. But it looks like they're just going to sit back for now. Like, you've got 3 tanks. You see that your opponent, I mean, they have 2 tanks, but they're mostly Vulture. While those Wraiths were keeping that army back, you could have just got across this bridge and just sieged up here, and then just sort of reset your rally points and just sort of push the issue there. Get that contain off. There, and we do see that that factory just be moved down 1 build tile there. And again, we've got just the 1 worker on the natural gas, so Nerfingen's gonna be a little bit pressed here for gas on their build. A few more turrets being... turrets? Okay. Mouth in English. Turrets being thrown down by J to the T. 4 workers on the main. So both players having a little bit of gas worker issues here. And now we have... ooh, looks like one of those tanks took a shot from some of the mines. Nerfingen choosing to siege up here pretty far back. And J to the T as well. Both players recognizing that this bridge is a pretty strategery spot to hold. Really, both players, and we saw this in the last game too, like yeah, we had an aggressive style opening from J to the T, though they weren't able to do a whole lot with it, which is one of the reasons why I don't really like that 1 base sort of play style, because it feels like by the time you're coming out, if your opponent hasn't made enough mistakes in their build, if they're going like, you know, 2 base play, they should be able to hold that 1 base aggression. And then in this game, we had the 2 port Wraiths that did some damage there. But now blocking again with this machine shop in the factory. Very unfortunate to see there for J to the T. And they did go ahead and... oh, they just now corrected the workers on the gas. Okay. But, you know, both players just sort of choosing to sit back for some amount of time and just sort of let their opponent do what they want, when really, like, J to the T could sort of move up here and guard this, and you don't necessarily need army like here, and here to contain, because you could probably just station a few tanks, mines, right? Because they're going to lose so much trying to move across this bridge if they try to even just like 3 tanks and a bunch of mines. You could position your army here to sort of try and keep this 3rd, or even here if you can get there, to keep the 3rd from being established. And then like just maybe a tank or 2 here and some mines again, because this is a pretty narrow choke. And you could do the same on the opposite side of the map too. And we do see mines coming down here for Nerfingen, which is going to give that vision and that sort of advanced notice if anything comes through those lanes. Nerfingen just kind of exploring which avenues are safe for their army. A bit of blind tank exploration can be dangerous, as you can get caught by some mines, but just Nerfingen kind of extending themselves a bit far with this. Like, these tanks are pretty vulnerable just sitting there, but at the same time, I think it's sort of like, well, my opponent doesn't have anything here. So, and I can position myself on these high grounds and stop them from taking these high grounds potentially, so I'm gonna do it type of situation. But really, it's just 3 tanks. It's not like they've got, like, you know, a base behind this, so... Looks like J to the T checking out this base here with their army, just seeing if there's anything there, seeing if that's something that they can take, perhaps looking to take their 3rd. Nerfingen has opted for the mineral only here instead of The mineral only down here. Which is a bit interesting because this corner base has the double gas. But there we go, couldn't select for some reason. So I would think you'd maybe want to expand in this direction. But it is looking like both players are kind of expanding to split the map vertically. So Nerfingen takes this right half, and then J to the T takes this left half. So just taking a look at the upgrades here. We are at 1-0 for J to the T. 0-0. See, so now Nerfingen's moving across this bridge freely, right? Because there's nothing positioned here. If you've had like just a few tanks, some mines, can't really do that. And then same, oh, J to the T is taking this avenue. Okay. But still same there. You just have a few things positioned here. These vultures can't really get out. Although interesting, army choice here, not doing anything with this, but keeping like 3 tanks sort of just sieged here. I'm thinking Nerfingen is looking to expand up this side of the map here. It looks like they're gonna position some of their army here to be able to secure this a bit more. Moving a bit forward with the tanks now. There's a pack of vultures here and tanks, though. Could bust up onto this high ground, potentially, but not a whole lot. Again, both players playing with some pretty low worker counts here. Nerfingen, with that worker count lead, does have the 3 bases, but really just, even if you're just on 2 bases, you should just be continually producing those workers. So that will allow you then, when you do get the 3rd, you can just transfer out of your main and your 2nd, and it's just a fully saturated 3rd, like, instantly. Now, I like this, that Nerfingen is going ahead and taking some strategic spots. Could actually move up here. Doesn't need to stop at this high ground necessarily, given that there's nothing here to contest it. I think there is some mine clearing going on here, and a little scan by J to the T just to make sure. Throwing a lot of their army into this little space here. It will keep that base defended, but like just got less defending elsewhere. But this is a lot of tanks from J to the T. So, and here we do see Nerfingen sort of positioning a little bit here. With those mines, going to go ahead and move up into the space, realizes there's nothing stopping them from doing so there. Really, I don't know if I agree with that pullback. I mean, J to the T's army is not coming up here. Like, yeah, you do give a bit more space, though, to your army between these mines and your army, since you can't get those mines, like, on the ramp and low ground because of the tanks here. But at the same time, you could just hold this high ground. But either way, it's going to do the same thing. So, at least for now, probably not that big a deal, especially with the expansion paths that the players are choosing. A lot of scans going down for both players. Let's just check the factory count here real quick. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 J to the T right now. Second starport coming down. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Nerfinger I keep wanting to say Nerfinger. Or like Nerfinger. I guess my brain wants to read that last word as if it were, or that last part as if it were finger. For some reason, but Nerfingen. Or is that Nerf InGen? Like Nerf as in to make weaker and then InGen. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to tell where those names are, like where the intention is to be to have the break when you don't want to use like underscores, which I can completely understand not wanting to use underscores. So now this is where Nerfingen is kind of running into Crowbar XZ in the Twitch chat there. It's pronounced Nerfingen. It's like, is it tomato or tomato when you're reading it? Do you say data or data? Just in text. Those things always amuse me. Nerfingen realizing this lane was a bit open here for J to the T. Positioning a few more tanks here. J to the T actually getting up on a higher base count here. And it looks like, oh, I don't think I agree with this move in here. Because these tanks are just gonna really hurt, but a large chunk of J to the T's army is missing. No tanks sieging. This is really gonna hurt this army count here. Yeah, there's really no need to push into the entrenched space of J to the T like that, and Nerfingen just kind of giving up this high ground here. A big ouch. And the supply count there. Now J to the T ahead has an opportunity to capitalize, but doesn't look like they're really doing so. It looks like they're going for that dropship play again. Large Vulture and Goliath army here. Maybe if that had been moved up here and the whole army pushed forward, might have done something. And also if there were some siege modes that were thrown down, but Nerfingen was just, I think, looking to kind of do that A move. And now we've got J to the T trying to push into high ground here. I think J to the T has a little bit better chance of cleaning this up. And now trying to get some reinforcements. The pathing, though, going a bit awry. We do have some dropships here that kind of squeaked by. Looking to get into the main, maybe, of Nerfingen. Does have a nice army, but it's sitting out here at the choke. The main is mined out, though. Oh, looking to drop here in the natural. But there aren't a lot of workers here. Again, both players playing with that really low worker count. Manages to shut down this natural for now, though, as actually all of the reinforcements that were at the natural choke moved out. Battle cruiser's now out for Nerfingen. So going to be able to clean up that, and then I don't know if those units got pulled by a siege shot or if that was an attempted move out. I think those might have got pulled, so that's a little bit unfortunate to see there. Depot burning. Actually, a couple more depots might burn down if Nerfingen's not careful there. See, we do have, in response to the battle cruisers, a few more Goliaths coming out here. J to the T has quite the supply lead, but again, not capitalizing on it. J to the T kind of finding, okay, there's some army over here. They did get this bottom left here with the double gas, but not utilizing the gas. Also didn't take their mineral only on that side just yet. So Nerf and Gen won the first game. I was like, the way that I'm saying the name right now is like as if it's 3 words. Nerf in Gen, right? Like Nerf in Generation or something like that. But I'm really thinking that's like Nerf FinGen. Maybe InGen is a character from a game that I'm just not familiar with. I could see that. I'm gonna try and get myself saying it that way, and if I'm wrong, hopefully I'll be corrected at some point here. And I do apologize to Nerf InGen if I'm saying your name wrong. Sorry. So J to T here, going ahead and doing a worker transfer. I'm hoping, against all hope, that is not to this bottom left. Because I feel like this tank is, and these tanks are going to have a field day if that's where these workers are going. And oh no. Okay, good. Good. They're going to this base here. I am happy about that. We do have some different transfers going on here for the players, and actually the battle cruisers, they did reveal themselves, but they are sitting back. It looks like Nerf InGen is going ahead for the numbers in your name. Gotcha, Data. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably do it for the initial announcement, and then after that just start going with Dada. Or would it be Dada or Dada? Actually, now I'm wondering how the A's are supposed to be pronounced. Oh man, now I'm all self-conscious about how I'm saying names. Looks like the battle cruisers are moving out, and I'm wondering if those battle cruisers are gonna sort of be like the decisive thing here. It looks like J to the T is wanting to go ahead and take this mineral only for themselves. But yeah, this is sort of how the map has been split by the 2 players now. Ooh, a whole bunch of reinforcements getting caught there in the middle. We do have the battle cruisers coming out. They're a little exposed, but the Goliath count is a little bit spread thin here. They're not really together. A little bit of a backup here with the rally points. There are a good number of Goliaths nearby where the battle cruisers have moved though, so they could get there to reinforce kind of quickly. No upgrades on the battle cruisers either, unfortunately. It looks like that vulture did get shot by one. Whoops. We'll just see the vision of nobody. I'm just trying to see, like, when does Nerf... Oh, okay, Nerf engine... Or, sorry, not Nerf engine. J to the T sees the battle cruisers there. But yeah, I think these battle cruisers are gonna be repelled by the Goliaths here a little bit. They are +3/+3. And there's not a lot of battle cruisers. The battle cruisers are not upgraded, so you just have to be very careful with your Goliaths here. I think they can kind of just keep the battle cruisers back because the battle cruisers are such an investment. Now, Yamato gun could be a good move here to sort of pick off the Goliaths because there are so few. And get them killed quickly. And again, the reinforcements getting caught with that pathing. They just want to go across this bridge and then up there. It's a very nice catch there by J to the T. A nice little scout there by J to the T. And these battle cruisers going to go ahead and reposition. And the corner base for J to the T hasn't really kicked in all that much, but they do have a bit of a bank right now. It would be nice to see those battle cruisers sort of clear this middle because there's no anti-air there, but I think J... okay, Nerf engine does see this bottom left base is taken, so maybe going to go ahead and try and clear that with the battle cruisers. Could clear that actually quite easily, although now the turrets are coming down. A to the T, I think, may have scanned and seen that the battle cruisers left there. realizing they can't get troops there. They're going to have to turret that up, but there's only the 3 there. There's not a lot of tanks here. J to the T could clear this position. It looks like they might, but I'd like to see them, if they're going to do that, take all of their tanks. And really commit to that move if they want to take that high ground. Although that opportunity is closing as now the reinforcements from Nerf Engine are coming up here. And then, yeah, I think J to the T just sort of missed the opportunity to take this high ground. If they had just unsieged all their tanks and moved up there when those reinforcements were like just starting their journey, probably could have cleared this and then fought the reinforcements on even ground. But just that little bit of delay gave time for the reinforcements of Nerf Engine to get into position there. And we do have the battle cruisers here using that Yamato gun against those turrets, taking out this bottom left. So J to the T is kind of going to be stuck on these bases, but now J to the T doing a little bit of a counter of their own on this top right here with the tanks. And the dropships bypassing that high ground. Going to be able to shut that base down, so both players kind of on equal footing base-wise, except that Nerf Engine did clean this out. Whereas J to the T has not touched this mineral only yet. But I still feel like the battle cruisers here, they are starting to get their upgrades. They're at 1-1. Would like to see a few more upgrades come down. I'd also love to see Nerf Engine expand to this bottom left, given that, you know, they have this army here. These tanks could probably be like sieged up here behind these mines. But it's going to be really hard for J to the T to really hit that spot. I mean, could still go with the dropship avenue again through this lane, but you know, if you, I'm not sure if you can build on this or if this is unbuildable terrain, but you just position a couple Goliaths there or something and you should have that pretty protected. And if that is buildable, then you can, you know, go ahead and throw down some turrets. Looks like Nerf Engine gonna go ahead and bring their battle cruisers up here. The Goliaths can't get over here. So these tanks are free game, and that's a lot of tanks. I feel like J to the T maybe should have pulled those back into the dropship, or maybe just left one there. Gonna try and move them back, but they're gonna get caught by the tanks on the high ground here, so these tanks are not gonna have a happy day. They're not gonna get to return as veterans to their army. Yeah, just getting cleaned up there. Oh, but a few tanks being pulled out by the shots there, and now trying to move forward a little bit here, but it's going to be low ground versus high ground. Gonna clear a few tanks, but did give themselves a little bit of space, but they need to get this army over here if they want to try and push this. So Yamato Gun's clearing out those defense matrices. And we do have a drop here at the natural that I missed. There is a round of battle cruisers here cleaning that just popped. Should be able to clean this up. And really, there's a lot of army here that could move into engage. As all those tanks on siege, these could just come running in there. Now J to the T actually moving into the reinforcements that were just sitting there. And losing the rest of that drop army. And now Nerf Engine coming in here. A little bit unfortunate to see there. Now, Nerf Engine is looking to be in a pretty powerful position here. Did lose this natural, but could get it back, and it still has minerals at this stage of the game because the worker count has been so low, but also now taking this bottom left, has the top right. And there's really not much for J to the T to push. Almost all of J to the T's bases are mined out. Large force of workers here not doing anything. Now getting those situated to a base. Looks like only 2 workers on the gas here. And more dropships loading up. Yeah, it feels like Nerf engines should have a lot more money than they do currently. And I feel like that's a result of the worker count and also maybe the worker distribution even. A lot of their workers are, let's see, idle here. There's a good chunk on this base, but actually doesn't look like as many as I was thinking there would be. There's very few workers here, only 3 actively mining. So yeah, if those workers were better spread out, I think Nerf Engine would have a lot more money right now. And that might be kind of holding them back here, but they do have a large battle cruiser force here. At this point, this battle cruiser force could just roll over these Goliaths here. Here we do have the worker reassignment from the mined out mineral only. We have the dropships coming down here. Gonna try and bust this high ground position. I think they'll be able to do it. Maybe not quite. Does get this lane cleared up though. And there's just the 3 tanks here. But a lot of tanks just kind of sitting in the main for Nerf Engine as well. Oh, and we do have a push up here to the mineral only. It looks like that army did indeed get cleared out by the superior, or well, the superior number of battle cruisers. They're the only battle cruisers there for Nerf Engine. And now the question, there are some wraiths here. There is no vessel, so Cloak coming in here, gonna try and do some damage on these battle cruisers. It kind of just depends on, you know, how quickly will Nerf Engine respond with a scan. There's no scan coming down. Where is the scan? There we go. Those battle cruisers taking a lot of damage though with that. More wraiths on the way from J to the T. And a question from the chat here, can you EMP scanners? You know, I've never tried it, but I don't think it works. I don't think you can EMP buildings, because I don't think you can EMP shield batteries either, but I've never actually tried it. And there was the quick response with a scan, so the Cloaked Wraith's not quite able to do as much damage as you would like. That's a battle. I was like, I thought I heard a Wraith shooting at something, but now there's a battle cruiser cleaning up that engineering bay there. The Wraiths were a good attempt there. They did more damage than they really should have to these battle cruisers, but it's really looking like Nerf Engine is just slowly tightening the rope here on J to the T. And actually the Goliaths moving down here seems a bit odd when the battlecruiser army is up here. You're kind of going to want those Goliaths to be in position to counter the battlecruisers. But they were coming down here to load up into the dropships. But I'm not exactly sure where they're going to drop to deal damage. I mean, could maybe disrupt this if you get some units, but Goliaths are going to be slow to clear that. There's so many tanks just sitting around the main and empty natural of Nerf Engine that pure Goliath drop there is not going to do much, and it looks like it is going to target this bottom left. They're going to see all of the turrets and actually just drop here. And yeah, this is where having cleared this and having these tanks is going to help. Because there are not tanks to shoot that high ground, or from that high ground there. And it looks like Nerf InGen is going to lose that bottom left, but you know what? I like what they're doing. They're saying, you know what? Screw it. All your Goliaths are down there. Fine. I'm coming into your natural. Let's have fun. Leading with the battle cruisers first to try and clear up some of these siege tanks. Needs to get these tanks sieged, though. A lot of them kind of just getting erased. I don't know if I like the pulling back here just yet. Continue to engage. You clear out that anti-air. There's nothing stopping you. I don't even feel like you need the fancy micro. Just, yeah, like, target fire the anti-air. There's just not enough here to stop this. All the Goliaths now are down here. Sure, you cleared out that bottom left, but you can't really... No, just keep engaging. Keep engaging. I mean, okay, you did lead them to the tanks that are there, so... That is going to help a bit. But keep pressing forward. Go! Go! Now, to be fair to Nerf InGen, you know, this is the vision that they have right now. Oops. And that's the vision that we have right now, is nothing. So I keep doing that. Yeah, would like to see some SCVs up there to do the repairs, but... Nerf InGen is just kind of given time for some more anti-air, and really, J to the T is not really producing much of anything. Like, the factories are silent. They're only using, like, one starport here at a time. Nerf InGen is really giving J to the T a ton of time. Or defense matrix going down instead of EMP. I don't know if J to the T actually got EMP to hit these battle cruisers. It looks like there may have been an attempt to pull the Goliaths back, but they got caught by the 3 tanks that are here. And again, like, okay, so this Goliath is being moved up here. We do have a cloak. This science vessel is a bit out of position. Trying to sneak kill a battle cruiser there, but... Mine's being cleared out there, but yeah, now, again, the science vessel is back a bit far. Need to get a scan off or something to get that Wraith. I'm pulling back, taking a ton of damage running back. I feel like if Nerf InGen had just committed, that would have been GG. Oh, that's unfortunate losing that, that one battle cruiser there. But yeah, just like, it feels like Nerf InGen's just not quite sure if they can really commit to the attack here when they can. I mean, and you could use your Yamato gun. It's research, we've seen it, to kind of clear these, but like, those turrets are the only anti-air there. Now there's 2 Goliaths. Like, Yamato gun the turrets and just A move and win. And J to the T here, loading up these, loading up your anti-air again into the dropship. I think there were a couple of Goliaths there that got picked up. Maybe not. Yeah, Nerf InGen just keeps giving J to the T time to just build up more anti-air, which is going to counter what Nerf InGen is trying to push with. J to the T is trying to get this bottom left base here. But again, there is J to the T luring out some tanks that weren't sieged up, cleaning those up, but like, there's barely any anti-air. And these battle cruisers are taking a lot of damage because they keep dancing in and out of the fight instead of just committing. Yeah, chat saying that the BCs are half dead though. Yeah, at this point they are. Because there's been 2 or 3 engagements where they kind of poked in and then ran away, and while they ran away, they took heavy damage. If they had just stayed in the fight, you maybe lose 1 or 2, but once the anti-air is clear, there's nothing there to stop you. You can just clean house at that point. But, like, Nerf InGen is still in a very strong position, don't get me wrong. But they're really giving J to the T the chance here to make something happen. Now, because see, like, the energy for Yamato was there for a really long time. And just now, cleaning up the last of those turrets and just kind of committing to this attack. This could have happened like 2 attacks ago. That's just my point. I mean, Nerf InGen is still getting there in the end. But really could have cleaned this game up faster. Which, to be fair, you know, again, this is tier 3 play. And it can be hard to know and to have that sort of game sense of, oh, I can just go in and kill my opponent. And, you know, like, it can be frustrating when you think you're in that position to go and get that kill, and it costs you the game. So again, like, I don't want, you know, anyone to feel like I'm talking bad about Nerf when I'm saying, you know, like, you just go in, like, you could go in and kill. Because I understand that sort of thought process. Also, this Marine from, like, the beginning of the game is still just chilling here. I like that. But yeah, at this point now, the main is going to be cleaned up here. J to the T, I'm trying to see if there's, like, a response or a build back that they're doing. J to the T's macro has also been kind of weird. They've had all of these factories that for a long time are just sitting idle, and they were only using, like, the 1 starport too, so it could also just be, like, a long TVT can be really mentally draining. We had a long game 1. Now we've got a long game 2. And there we will get the GG from J to the T. Making sure that their opponent understands. They're saying well played. But yeah, like, I can sort of understand that, you know, things will start to slip the longer series that you have like that. So I could see that potentially coming into play as well. But very fun TVTs there. Both players could have maybe, you know, at different times been a bit more aggressive than they were, but in the end, Nerf InGen is going to go and take that series 2-0 for the Cheese Police, putting them up 1-0. Again, there was one walkover. I don't know which way it went, so I can't really add that to the score. But with that, we'll go ahead and get our second matchup here loaded up, which is going to be a Zerg versus Zerg. We're going to have Bugs Bunny, with a name like that, I'm hoping there's some sort of, like, Acme level cheese going on here, but we'll see. Going up against Dada. I don't know if it's supposed to be Dada or, like, how else could I say it? Day. I guess if you do a long A, that sounds really weird. So I'm just going to go with Dada. I'm being told by Dada that I can use either. Right, I'm going with Dada then. Because it's not quite like Dada, like a baby would call their father. We'll go with Dada. And so, starting off here, was this in top versus bottom? Just curious. Thank you for playing in top versus bottom. We have Bugs Bunny, aka Bugs Bun, spawning as the blue Zerg on the left of Ascension. And Dada spawning as the red Zerg over on the right. So Zerg versus Zerg is probably one of the more volatile of the mirror matchups, in my opinion. Just because you can have games decided on like a razor's edge of like a 2 Zergling advantage. Protoss versus Protoss can sometimes be like decided just like, well, I won DTs and you didn't go detection or something like that. But it's a bit more stable. And then Terran versus Terran as a mirror matchup is kind of like, oh, whoops, you don't see the game. Sorry about that. We have Bugs Bunny on the left here in the blue, and in the red Zerg here on the left. Not too much has happened. No buildings have been placed down yet. Both players are getting their overlords, so you did not miss too much. It's a ZVZ and the tap over already. That's what I was sort of talking about. Zerg versus Zerg is probably the more volatile in my eyes of the mirror matchups. Dada is going for the spawning pool, while I think that was a 12 pool, while Bugs Bunny is going for the 12 hatchery here. Both players scouting with their overlords up to that empty base. Overlord's going to be buddies up there. Looks like Dada is saving the larva there for those Zerglings. Should be 3? Not quite 3. But doesn't have the money to actually full pump the Zerglings anyway, because they are going ahead and getting their hatchery behind this. And we do have the drone scout from Bugs Bunny to see what is going on there. Spawning pool and gas on the way for Dada. Or sorry, for Bugs Bunny. Wrong name came to mind because I was switching whose base I was viewing there. So I'm going to go ahead and chase that drone home. Be able to get a little bit of scouting info in. No defenses up just yet for Bugs Bunny. Gonna be able to get that speed if that's what they're going for pretty quickly, or will they go for lair here? Zergling's gonna come in and find that there's nothing to contest them for now. Creep colony is going down though, as Bugs Bunny knows that there are some Zerglings out on the field. Maybe doesn't quite know the full count. And now the 6 Zerglings popping out here for Bugs Bunny, ignoring the one Zergling in the main. Which might actually get a drone kill here. But then focusing on the hatchery, maybe he could have squeaked out a second drone kill. There is a pretty damaged one there, but still getting one pretty nice. Bugs Bunny does have that worker count lead, having gone a bit more of an economical build. And there we're going for the lair and speed. No gas yet for Dada, just now getting that, but going up to the 3 hatcheries here. I think there might have been a... Was there a small engagement here, or was that damage just from that first Zergling? I think that was from that first Zergling, given that these Zerglings aren't damaged at all. Now, one Zergling kind of getting wandering out there. There is a larger number here for Dada, but the Sunken is going to offer some support, so Dada not quite wanting to go in there just yet. Speed, though, is finished now. We have an evolution chamber as well, which seems like an interesting choice to me if you're getting your lair. And now, oh, Bugs Bunny allowing that run by into the main here. Gonna force the issue. Oh, and with that, Bugs Bunny is going to tap out and give the GG. Because those drones were just going to be free-range chickens there for those Zerglings. Feel like that might have been a little bit early, though. Could have responded by pulling those drones out into your natural where that Sunken is. I mean, sure, you would have lost a few. But really, I feel like that could have that ended a little bit sooner than it needed to. But well played by Dada getting that run by there. Oh, my display is also a little bit off there. Had the names conflicting. I thought I turned that first display for the first game off. Sorry about that. We'll go ahead and get game 2 loaded up, though. All right, and game 2 has us on Polaris Rhapsody. Dada spawning as the red Zerg up in the top left. And Bugs Bunny spawning as the blue Zerg down in the bottom right. So in game 1 there, we saw the 12 pool versus 12 hatch, and we saw actually the Zerglings that didn't have speed get the run by into the main, causing Bugs Bunny to give the GG there. So be interesting. Or I always like to in these best of 3s, especially mirror matchups, and just see, you know, I think the matchups that have like more varied openings available to them, you know, like what are the players going to go for? They're going to do the same thing? Are they going to do something different, mix it up? Just kind of follow this Overlord here. It looks like Dada is going to go for a quick gas this time. Not an extractor trick for that extra drone, so we'll probably see some gas heavy play. It looks like Bugs Bunny is going for the 9 pool this time. You know what? I never noticed the face on the Overlord unit until just now. That's their face there. Kinda neat. Anyway, back to the game here. We do have the spawning pool now started for... Is this, over, like, gas first over pool? Would you call this? Because I imagine we're going to see... I'm a little less familiar with, like, Zerg vs. Zerg builds. We're not saving our larva, though. I would think with this that we would be getting this gas for speed. But the workers are still on gas. So I'm not exactly sure the direction that Dada is wanting to go with this build. Now we do have a gas coming online for Bugs Bunny as well, so it looks like we're going to see some one hatchery Zergling play go on here. We are at 2 larvae right now, though. The third not quite popping up, and we're getting a lair, so we're getting very quick Mutalisks, I imagine. But we're going to need to start seeing some Zergling production here soon, and yeah, okay, we are getting our first set of Zerglings as the Zerglings are coming across the map for Bugs Bunny, and I bet this build is sort of allowed to happen thanks to this being a 2-player map with a really long rush distance. So that should have the Zerglings to repel this in time, but it's really going to just come down to control and micro. But with the defender's advantage here, like, see, we're already at equal number Zerglings for both players. And oh, the Zerglings kind of getting a really nice surround there for Bugs Bunny. But the defender's advantage, the 2 extra Zerglings that popped out for Dada, being able to stave that off just in time. And then with the Sunken being able to hold this, and now I forget exactly how many minerals. Is it 100 minerals for the Spire? Or is it 150? Looks like we're getting ready to get that Spire, so I'm guessing it's 150 if we haven't quite... Oh, maybe a little bit of a misselect and stop here as 2 of the gas miners have stopped. Bugs Bunny behind this is going ahead and taking their natural, getting their lair in response to having seen the lair morphing for Dada, and there we go. 200, I'm being told in the chat. Okay. And one of the gas workers corrected this one, though. I think this drone is on strike. They don't want to return that gas, or maybe they're just very fond of that particular Vespine gas cluster. And Dada in chat saying somehow they ended up pressing S on their workers while trying to press S for their spire, and that is something that I can relate to. It's definitely can be very easy, especially in the heat of the moment in the game, to sort of do that misselect and misorder there. But Bugs Bunny, I'm a little bit worried back home here. So they got the lair and an Evo chamber. So the Evo chamber is going to be to get those spore colonies to defend against the Mutalisks, but like, they don't have anything really to defend against this ground army that's coming across. Dada might not even need the Mutalisks here. They might have just struck the mental fear. That's enough for Dada to take the win here. We'll see. These two Zerglings are going to be cleaned up, and with that, Bugs Bunny's going to go ahead and give the GG. Well played there by Dada to take the win with the Zerglings. Spire not quite finished, so we didn't get to see the Mutalisks there, but nice play. Dada taking it 2-0, putting up the Cheese Police 2-0 so far in this series. And we'll go ahead and get our next TVT rolling here with character versus Crowbar. Crowbar, I played earlier in the season, if I'm remembering right. And I remember I got whooped that game, if I'm remembering it properly. So I think I also... Did I play character? No, I think I might just be thinking of games I casted with character in them. It's been kind of nice doing the casting too, to kind of get to know all the different players that are in tier 3, since I've been mainly casting tier 3. It's always fun to see names and start to get familiar with them. Right, and this time I am not leaving the display on the wrong screen here. We have not played in top versus bottom. Character spawning as the yellow Terran over on the left of Ascension. And Crowbar spawning as the pink Terran over on the right. And a quick note from chat. You were spam selecting workers for more APM. Admit it, Dada. That is actually where I will sometimes mess up a worker with my early, but mostly just like in the early game spam. Because one of the ways that I spam is, so like I'll put my command center on control group 3, I'll put one worker on control group 1, and then I'll be flipping between them, and then also box selecting and setting rally point for the command center. And I haven't done it in a little while, but sometimes instead of having the command center selected, I will have the worker that is on group 1 selected when I right click for that rally point, and then that worker will stop mining. So spamming can sometimes get you in trouble. Both players throwing down their first supply depot. I'm pretty sure I played Crowbar, didn't I? You know what? While we're in these early stages here, both players look like they're going for the racks. They should get their gases soon here. I'm gonna double check real quick if I played Crowbar. We did play an epic game on Eclipse. Okay, yeah, that's right. You were the TV. I'm sorry. So it's not like I'm like, wait, did I play I don't remember Crowbar? It's more like I've had 3 different TVTs this season. Things are starting to blend together in my brain. But yeah, that's right, because you were the one where we had that TVT on Eclipse. And then it was, who was it that was the TVT after that, I think? That's right, because we had the TVT on Eclipse, and then we had the TVT on Fighting Spirit. And then, shoot, who was it that I played? And actually both, okay, no, Crowbar did take the workers off the gas here. Character did not, so we might see the two, no, the factory hasn't started yet. Yeah, see, that's another thing too, with keeping the workers on the gas, you get those minerals for the factory a little bit late. We'll see if we get 2 factory out of this, or if character's going to want to go for that fast expand, but Keeping the workers on the gas will delay that. And then I'm guessing that's a check for a proxy there. I don't think that would be a misclick, especially with the way that the worker moved there. So probably just making sure that there's no barracks outside or something like that. Also, don't forget, after this cast, U-Round at 1 p.m. Eastern is going to be casting the Tier 2 between these two games, so you'll want to check out their Twitch, and if they're live, like on their just starting screen, depending on how long this goes, we might give them a raid. And so we are indeed seeing... I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I don't like the 2 factory builds in TVT. It always just seems like you're going to come out behind in them. But that's just my personal experience. Obviously, if people are going 2 factory, there are ways for it to work. And we actually see siege mode being researched, which is kind of interesting. So this is like looking to maybe be a tank heavy 2 factory here from character. We do have the 2 barracks floating from both players over. Crowbar getting that, going up to 3 factories, going ahead and getting their armory. Going ahead and getting that vulture speed. But with the tank heavy composition of character, these vultures are not really going to be able to do a whole lot, so Crowbar may need to transition out of vultures a little bit faster than it looks like they're really wanting to. Now they are starting to get a tank, so they are starting that transition out. But character is moving their whole army out that way. They're leaving a bit of an opening here for these vultures to get in and do some work. A little bit of a hang up there, oddly, I guess, because of that SCV. And the vulture's just able to freely walk in here. Gonna score some kills. Very nice there. Backstab by Crowbar. And that can be another issue here. So you're on the 1 base. You've moved out with your army, and these vultures got in. And now that worker count difference is just even more huge. But with siege mode finished for character, and siege mode not quite finished yet for Crowbar, this army gonna be able to set up a contain here. A very aggressive contain too. Focus firing down that sieged tank. I like that. Crowbar able to take out a little bit, but Crowbar in a little bit of a trouble here. If this 2 factory push is able to knock Crowbar off this natural, then it will have paid for itself. Crowbar doing what they need to do, pulling those SCVs to take up some of those tank shots and get some damage on the tanks. There's just 1 tank here right now. Oh no, the vulture's just not doing anything. That tank could have been saved. The vultures of Crowbar just not quite responding in time to save it, and I think Crowbar is gonna be okay. The bunker there does get taken out. Little bit of mining time lost here, but Crowbar is able to repel this. And behind this, character is trying to set up their natural, is trying to get the armory, but I feel like Crowbar still comes out ahead here. He has the worker lead at up 10. Has the supply lead as well. The natural is already established, could be resaturated with the workers from the main, so. And scoring that barracks kill, so very nice play there in defense by Crowbar. And really good job of pulling those workers off of that natural mineral line into that defense. Okay, no, so I have not played against character. Okay. I just wanted to double check that. Because that's right, I had TVT actually versus Azrael, who I think is on Pacific... No, not on Pacific Fire, because... Or yeah, on Pacific Fire, yeah. In that first week. And then on week 2 is when Crowbar and I played. Okay. That's right. I had to double check just for my sanity's sake. Now, character is going to be able to sort of set up like a mind contain here. And unfortunately for Crowbar, like, they're kind of in the position. So one of the things with this 3-player map in TVT is it's going to be easier for one player to move towards the other. Crowbar has to move through, to directly move to character, has to move through this tiny choke. Which just is not going to be fun, right? Pretty easy to contain something like this. Actually, because like for just, you know, speaking in generals, the player that spawns over here, you throw some stuff down here, you throw some stuff up here, it would be really hard to move out against that, right? Probably gonna have to do like some dropship play or something along those lines. And so I think that's part of why Crowbar is trying to like keep this clear, because I think they like, you know, they're thinking like, okay, well, if I want to just move directly against them, I have this tiny space. If they can hold me here, that's going to just be hard, really hard to push out against. Where, you know, Crowbar, if they're able to get out and contain, you know, they can contain this side a little bit easier. But like, yeah, it's just kind of awkward for the player that's in Crowbar's starting position, I think, than for character's starting position.
Listen.
I would like to see some more mines, maybe, from character, because there's no vision up on this high ground. And yeah, like, as you can see, you know, while Crowbar threw down a siege tank and Goliath here, they're going ahead and moving their army up this way. They're going to try and secure this high ground, so that way, or actually just push forward. Maybe even trying to secure this high ground? Or just scouting and saying, you know what, if I don't see you anywhere near here, I don't need to be sieged right now. Gonna bump into the army here now, so it does see, okay. They are going to go ahead and move out. Has dropships ready, or at least a dropship. A couple of units here wandering in, and now character is trying to start to set up that contain that I was talking about here. Trying to, although it seems to be a little bit further back, at least in terms of like keeping this, and then, I don't know, throwing the Goliaths away. That's really unfortunate. Actually coming up with a lot of SCVs here. Maybe looking to place some buildings down? Or getting ready for repairs? That just seems like a lot. So I'm not quite sure what they're looking to do there. Maybe they're looking to push onto this high ground, but... Oh, okay. Might have just been an accidental grab then, because they're just going to go ahead and walk back home. Alrighty. Meanwhile, we are starting to get wraiths for some air for Crowbar. Like to see it. Comsat's going down now for character. Looks like a not rallied factory. We have the starport in the science facility. What are the upgrades? We're at 1-0 right now with nothing spinning. Crowbar is at also 1-0 with nothing spinning, but going ahead, or wait, no, it does have something spinning. Just started up that attack +2, getting the second armory to get that armor +1 as well. And now it looks like there is an attempt to push this high ground from character. I don't like it. Gonna be repelled pretty easily here for Crowbar. But these units overextending a little bit, taking some damage. Losing a few more than needed to be lost, but going ahead and sieging up here. Sort of holding that middle high ground that's there. Eric's now floating over for character to take a peek into this base. First Wraith is out. And I like this crowbar going ahead, spreading around, getting that vision, checking those bases, making sure that character is not expanding in that direction. Could maybe use some more mines for visions, but this is an interesting move here by character. Moving up to this position. Looks like maybe gonna try and come around the fight on even ground here. Yeah, it looks like that's what character's going to try and do to bust this, but again, I still don't really agree with this. There's no real need to bust in here. And with those mines being set off, you know, Crowbar does have the time to respond here, get some tanks sieged up. And with every unit that character loses, now not actually even going up onto the high ground, trying to go into this spot here, but yeah, just taking some free shots. You can't really reinforce this easily. And now this army kind of getting stuck here. Taking shots and wisely pulling back here. So, looks like character was trying to find an avenue to get in there. And not quite able to find it, but really didn't need to push the issue there. Mind picking off a Goliath there. Now character coming out with some vultures here. Checking out some of these bases, making sure that there's no shenanigans going on with them. A nice strong force here up on this high ground from Crowbar. Yeah, as I'm thinking about it, like while I was talking about how like it's nice for the player spawning here to probably get a contain on the player spawning here, with the direct push coming through this narrow choke towards you, the reinforcing and or pushing into this player is really awkward because you have to come up along this way to get that push. But it's probably less awkward than for the player here because they have to come up. If you follow my mouse on the minimap, up and then down through the middle as opposed to you just kind of coming through a more natural path. But it looks like Crowbar will be launching off from this high ground position here. These tanks sieging up here, but that's giving this middle lane wide open for Crowbar. And it looks like Crowbar is going to move into position here to sort of set up a contain of their own now. There was an attempt to take this base by character, but there are mines in the way. And now Goliath's trying to come out here. Crowbar sees this moving out and positions the tanks on the high ground to catch these Goliaths. And they just evaporate very quickly here. Another Goliath offering itself up to Crowbar's army. Now Crowbar gonna step in position here. The question is, will they stop here? Or will they stop here? To try and deny this area and get this contain set up here. A few vultures and some mines watching this path out. Looks like character in response to that army being there. Gonna go ahead and try and position some things to stop this here, but it looks like the army from Crowbar is moving down. Oh, did just manage to catch that mine. The character in response setting up some defenses of their own, but Crowbar going to be able to get a nice, some units being aggroed here, but this one Goliath's like, no, don't go, my brother Goliaths. It will be your doom. Trying to get some mines there, but the dropship offering vision just in time to stop that. But a nice contain getting set up here by Crowbar. There is a little tiny bit of a vision gap, but really, you know, this is more than likely a fine enough vision for that lane to see if your opponent's going to come out with anything. I like the rally point all the way here on the high ground. Very nice to see. This is going to be difficult for a character to move out of, and trying to move out. I don't know if I agree with this here. The SCVs weren't even out front. And Crowbar just easily handling this. I'd love to see the reinforcements come down too for Crowbar. But actually, almost if those reinforcements would here, could probably just counter in to the natural of character, but character getting a little bit of an opportunity here to reset this natural. Looks like Crowbar is at 2-1 and character is up at 2-0, which on tank, the plating upgrade really isn't going to do that much. But it is still good to get if you can, because, you know, against the other units, I think it might be able to make a little bit of damage. Yeah, I'm not even... So there are a few forces here for character, but yeah, it's going to be scouted and cleaned up a bit here now by Crowbar. Some Goliaths do get out here, but it's only 3 for right now. And I think that, yeah, the command center was retreated there. Another command center being set up by character in preparation of trying to take another base, and then Crowbar trying to move in here. I like the siege up here, just sort of, you know, not really trying to bust into the natural, but trying to take over this rally space. And just slowly close in and tighten on your opponent. And really this siege here cuts this off. Anything trying to get out here is just like that SCV and this SCV and this SCV almost going to get caught by these tanks. So I like that repositioning there. I thought that was going to be more of like a push in. But once those tanks sieged, I was like, okay, that's a good play there by Crowbar. And it looks like character trying to take the expansion here again, but getting caught by the Goliaths in place. Let's see. So in chat we have, I don't get why Crowbar left the high ground. You can kind of siege the expansion from up there, and it feels like the safer position. So if you're talking about this high ground, like when he did that move up here just now, so the tanks are still on the high ground. The other units that ran down on the low ground were more to act as distractions for the tanks that were there of character. And the plan was just get these tanks closer, I think. At least that's the way that I look at it. So having the tanks positioned closer here lets you not have to worry about this choke, because now anything trying to come out through here and through this choke is going to get caught by these tanks. So this path here, there is a bit of an army stationed here, but this path really isn't open to ground units. This army will be more for catching, I think, like any sort of air move out or stopping this mineral only from being taken, like they're trying to do with the floating command center here. And we're also starting to see the turret ring get placed up around. So this is where Crowbar is really in that contain mode. And at this point, Crowbar doesn't need to push in. It's up to, and character even still trying to land it there, so that may have just been ordered to land. And floating another command center out here is a little bit of a surprise. Just throwing away the 400 minerals each time that happens. But it's on character now. Character has to break this contain. Crowbar does not need to kill character's base. So we'll see, you know, how character decides to break this. And so far they've kind of just been sending out their command centers. But if you look at the mini-map here, Crowbar has almost full vision. The one spot where they have a little bit of weakness of vision is right here. And I think character recognizes the situation and does go and call the GG there. And in chat saying, Crow totally maxed out. He can just go get McDonald's right now. And behind this, I really didn't get the cover. You know, Crowbar was going ahead and taking more of the map. They took this base. They were taking this base. So that's what you kind of want to do if you can get this sort of beautiful contain. You want to go ahead and start just taking more of those bases. And so with that, Crowbar is going to go up 1-0 against character. We're going to go ahead and get the next game loaded up, which is on a 2-player. Oh, as he came down from the high ground, kind of sat in the third. Okay, I was thinking you might have been talking about that one at 2. So that's just making sure that that third, that they can't get positioned on that third. Because if your opponent is going to give you that space, you might as well hop to that next high ground. If character had already positioned some units there, you know, Crowbar doesn't necessarily need to push into it. They can sort of keep up, but it might let character get that third up. So I liked, since character left that space open,
my friend.
it was
Stay a
nice for
while and
Crowbar to
listen.
move into that space and occupy it. You might as well, because you're still going to be, I think also that might be, I'm not looking at the map right now, but that might be a slightly smaller ramp to get up to that third than the ramp to leave from the third. So there's a little less space to maneuver in any attempts to push up out of it. At least that's my assessment. Again, remember, I am tier 3 myself, but that's the way I was looking at that situation. And so game 2, we have here characters spawning as the yellow Terran up in the top left. Crowbar again spawning as the pink or magenta, I'm not sure which that is. Terran down in the bottom right. There we go, if I could click that speed there. Or not the speed, but the toggle display of replay panel button. That's what I'm looking for. So game 1, character went for a bit more of an aggressive build. Was almost able to get an early contain off and take out that natural of Crowbar, but Crowbar with the worker pool and that second push into that force was able to hold it back. So we'll see if character is going to go for something similar, or if they'll go for the more economical play here. Eric's coming down for both players. Oh, gas? Okay, there's the gas for Crowbar. And the gas for character coming down. And the scouts coming out, so everything looking fine and dandy for both players so far. Scouts pass each other. They should see pretty much the same thing going on for both players here. Crowbar not quite seeing the factory count just yet, but same for character. They're both players workers getting in before any of the factories start, but Crowbar, I think, saw the continuation of the workers on the gas, and I think given how game 1 went, we might be seeing another sort of like 2 factory play from character here. Continuing to produce the Marines, though, so this second factory, if it is indeed going to come down, feels like it's going to come down a bit late. At least later than it could. Actually, a supply depot going down, so... we do have the command center at the natural started for Crowbar, so Crowbar doing that one factory expand and going ahead and throwing it down actually even before the... factory can finish. So going pretty quickly there for the command center. And a quick armory for character. I'm not sure exactly what character is going for here. They've continued to have 3 on the gas there, and now okay, we're getting the starport now. So this be... well, it can't be double starport if you're getting your armory, I imagine. It looks like character wants to go with that aggressive play in TVT. And not go for the long economical plan. I like this re-scout here by Crowbar. Sees that that natural is not taken yet. And has to suspect, okay, this is some sort of aggressive play, but not quite knowing what it is just yet. Going ahead and getting their own starport, actually. So instead of upping their factory count, after the expansion. They're going ahead for some Wraith play of their own. Goliath's coming out now, 4 characters, so should be able to handle any Wraiths from Crowbar, which are actually going to be a little bit slower than characters. This armory too could be, since character did not want to go for the machine shop to get tanks, Goliaths can also work as anti-vulture. Tanks are, in a lot of cases, going to be the better option if you're just looking to exit out of Vulture Wars, if that's your goal only, because tanks are going to be more useful later in the match than Goliaths are. But in this case, if you're trying to forego getting your machine shop, then Goliaths are what you're going to need. So I can see now why character went ahead and got that armory, but now going for dropship with the Goliaths. So this is going to be interesting, because I feel like dropshipped Goliaths shouldn't be able to do a lot of damage here. They might act as a cute little surprise, but maybe if Crowbar's army had come across the map and was trying to position here, but the army's sitting at home. So I feel like this is not going to do as much damage as it could. Coming down here into the main, there are some turrets coming down now, but probably going to score a few worker kills here. Might actually be able to level out the worker count, but going ahead and losing that dropship. Gonna lose some mining time here, and actually worker count almost evening out, so perhaps the Goliaths are doing more work than I was going to give them credit for. But with tanks coming up here now, yeah, the tanks are going to be able to clean that up, but that actually was more effective than I was expecting it to. And if character gets this natural up and running before the main's back up and running, I'd say this is pretty even after that drop. So a question from the chat, but if you are in a Vulture War and want to get a tank, you need to pause, slow down production to get the machine shop, and won't you then fall behind in the Vulture War? And it take like ages to get the shop and the tank. So I would say in most cases, you should already have a machine shop, even if you're going into Vulture Wars, because you're going to want to be able to get like speed and or mines on your vultures ultimately, right? So on your first factory, you're most of the time adding a machine shop after like 1 to 2 vultures. So you should already have that, and then be able to like just change one of your factory's productions from vultures to tank, and then that can help you transition out of Vulture Wars. So you'll be producing a few less vultures than your opponent for like a cycle or 2, but then once that tank pops, that should put an end to the Vulture War. Oh, this dropship here getting caught by this turret, and then since Crowbar got Wraiths, able to clean that up. So very nice play there by Crowbar, and nice forward thinking there, getting that turret there in response to the direction that it came from last time. But yeah, to what I was saying, so that's where you would normally see the transition to a tank instead of Goliath, right? But character didn't want to spend, I guess, the gas on that machine shop then, so that's why they got the armory, so that to make sure that a vulture overrun didn't happen, they could get Goliaths as sort of their anti-vulture, and then they ended up using the Goliaths as part of the drop. The problem in other cases, I would say, if you have a machine shop, if you're opting to go for Goliaths to get you out of the Vulture War as opposed to tanks, is that sure, that'll transition you out, but if your opponent then in the transition goes for tanks, they're going to have a higher tank count than you. And that's where you're gonna potentially run into problems. Now, character in response to the Wraiths is throwing down their own turrets, but this natural is going to be a little bit exposed. There are, oh, they landed. Nice. So Crowbar of the Cheese Police landing a barracks in the main of character here. Going with some Marines here, going to disrupt this main. And then just quietly lift and float the barracks off into the night. So very nice use of that barracks there by Crowbar. Another thing that can be nice about moves like that, like Goliath drop that character did, like that barracks land that Crowbar did, that can just, even if it doesn't seem like it does a lot of damage to the game state, it can cause stress for your opponent. And that stress can potentially throw them off in other areas. So sometimes it might feel like that did not do a lot, but it's possible that, you know, that just completely threw off the opponent. Like, look, there were 3 SCVs idle there. You know, it took Crowbar a little bit once this main was cleared to get their workers back on there. So sometimes, you know, it depends on the caliber of your opponent as well. Like, if you're on tier 0, that addition of stress is probably going to be less effective. Character throwing a vulture up there just to sort of scout there, or that could have just been Brood War pathing. Actually, where did... Oh, they moved the starport because it was blocking this factory with this machine shop there. Gotcha. Yeah, this Sim City causing a bit of problems for character. And Crowbar trying to do some work with those Wraiths there. Does snipe one of the SCVs that was working on a turret. And already sort of starting the turret ring here. Gotta start it early since you saw that dropship play already. Now Crowbar setting up a ring of turrets of their own to discourage those Wraiths from coming in. Some scans going down by character, I would believe. Yep, to just check the base count here. For Crowbar, going for this bottom left base. It's a little bit exposed, but hey, if you can get it without your opponent realizing, it could be a huge gas advantage for Crowbar here. Why are there so many mirrors? That's a good question. So I signed up for this group not knowing exactly what the race mix-up was going to be. I just kind of rolled an RNG, used random.com to pick out of the 2 remaining groups of tier 3. And then when I got the replays, it's like, hey, by the way, every matchup is a mirror matchup. So yeah, the first matchup was Terran versus Terran. Then we had Zerg versus Zerg. Now we have Terran versus Terran, and there's a Protoss versus Protoss. So I don't know what the 5th matchup was. That might have been a mirror matchup as well, but it was a walkover, so. Now, I like this move in the tanks here. Would be cool to see some mines get laid here as well, but really, character is now not in a very good position. Crowbar just kind of needs to set up this contain, get them to like 200, and just take over the map. The character is really fighting an uphill battle here again. And I really don't get... I saw another player do this. I don't get the supply depots here. I feel like it just lets air, like if your opponent wanted to, harass you here more because you don't have clean movement in this spot. Or if there was a drop here, like, I don't get it, but I've seen a couple of players do that on this map for these supply depots here. Looks like the Wraiths were looking for, oh, they're going to try and clean up these dropships. These dropships managed to get by. And the Wraith Cloud is coming to try and hunt them down. What's in them? We've got a couple of tanks and Goliaths, but if they drop in range of these tanks... Oh, and they're going to get caught here. Just the 2 tanks get out, and yeah, unfortunately, just not going to be an effective drop there for character. Now, character trying to move down this lane, perhaps didn't know that this was set up here just yet. Gonna be able to break this, though, with just the 3 tanks there. It might have a way out of this contain, but now we do have the reinforcements coming in. There's only 2 Goliaths here. This number of Wraiths should be able to clean this up. And it's going to force character to pull back, so... They were able to poke a little bit of a hole here, but now Crowbar could reestablish this spot if they want to. Although the Wraith's getting a little bit overextended there, unfortunately. Getting caught, and now with that, character is able to move back out here. Crowbar trying to lay down some mines to sort of slow this down. Behind this, the macro 2 tanks, 3-ish vultures on the macro cycles, and just 2 Goliaths right now coming out for character. Actually, character going heavy Goliath production. Has the machine shops, though, could be getting a few tanks. And now, ooh, nice little mine shot there, doing some damage on that army. And now going to try and move down this lower lane here. I think Crowbar was expecting the move to come through here. But going down this narrow choke, you might as well, if your goal is to just try and kill this base. Trying to move forward here. Going to be able to do a little something. Send in some more reinforcements, so... We have a little bit of a fight going on here for this base. The reinforcements maybe just a little bit slow, and actually maybe a little bit of a misclick here. A bit unfortunate. Those reinforcements could have been down in this fight here. One Cloaked Wraith doing a little bit of damage here, but looks like Crowbar will be able to keep this base secured. I would love to see this is clear now. Character really could take this. But again, like in the first TVT we watched, both players a bit low on their worker count. Although, character just on the... Actually, wait, where are... Oh. There's one mineral here, and all of these workers trying to get it, so that's why character is so low on money. And there, I think we're starting to get the, transfer here. That character really doesn't have anywhere to go. Needs to take this mineral only, but instead trying to push up into this base and move the command center there. And kind of like in that game 1 we saw between these two, just sort of offering up the command centers blindly there. So yeah, Crowbar is looking very strong. Even though there's this hole in the contain, character just not capitalizing on that hole to sort of get that extra base. There are a few units here, but at this point with what's stationed there, Crowbar can clean that up and sort of close this gap if they want to. There's going to be a pack of Goliaths here that's going to find this, but I mean, with reinforcements that are here, can just easily clean up those Goliaths, I think. Now, I think... Oh, no. Is character going to try and push up this? I mean, they might be able to break it, but they're going to lose so much with so little, like, minerals to re-macro it. I'm really worried about seeing those SCVs there. And it looks like, indeed, that is what they're going to do. They're going to try and push up this ramp here. There are a few units just slightly out of position here for Crowbar. I think character is going to be able to break this. They might be able to actually take this third, but they had a much easier mineral only that they could have taken. I mean, they cleared this mineral only and have not taken it yet. And they have this glut of gas. They're not hurting. And this is a mineral only too, actually. This doesn't even give them a gas, so... They could have taken this and, like, sieged up this spot. But they do clear this position and push this contain back a little bit. And now with that, this is allowing Crowbar. They're trying to send some tanks over here now, I think, to maybe try and secure this. But Crowbar's going to get here just in time to really close this up. You don't have a worker transfer, and they lost a lot of workers. So down to 33. But really, like, at this point in the game, 21 minutes in, you'd want to be like 70 plus workers. Yeah, there's so many minerals still here at the natural too. And now Crowbar moving into this position here. Gonna force this command center to lift. Yeah, there's just not enough here for character. The supply difference over 100, and that's just from that minerals, like only having 400 some. They just can't get an army to compete against Crowbar, pretty much. And again, Crowbar doing the smart play. You don't need to push in here. Even if you hit the 200-200, which was the lesson I learned this week. If you watched the cast where my game was in, I got 200-200, and I chuckled to myself because the blind was like, hit it money on the nose when I was at 200-200 and tried to move in. I was like, well, I'm at 200-200. I attack? Question mark. But yeah, here we can see Crowbar is just sitting back, macroing up, continuing to take bases here. Didn't take this mineral only back, but going for the gas base here. Has a pretty sizable army that's ready to respond to either this lane or this lane, depending on what their opponent wants to do. Has this, which is going to prevent this third from being taken or landing, since that command center is in range of these tanks. And really just putting it all on character and what they are going to do to respond to this situation. Cheeky missile turret. Well, fine then. I'm going to get rid of this barracks. Goliath trying to come in here and clean up this SCV and is able to do so. There's a dropship coming up here, but I don't think it's really going to be able to do much. That Goliath just kind of watching it. We saw it's changing its angle here. Gonna try and come over here and prevent the expansion to here, but again, it's not really gonna do much for you. Or, oh, doesn't even get the land, unfortunately. Gets caught by this turret here. And it's looking like Crowbar's gonna try and tighten the grip here. Sees that there's not a lot here, so might as well move in at that point. Yeah, there's just like the one tank sieged here. Crowbar getting into this choke, able to siege up, and there's the GG from character. Very good games there. Different strategies tried by both players, both games. Pretty fun to watch there. McCrabar is going to take it 2-0, putting Cheese Police up 3-0. And with that, we will get into our final games of today for this cast, which is going to see SC2 Airs going up against Shantisquan. And actually, really quick, before we start that, I'm going to step away for just a moment or two since I have been drinking that Monster Energy drink. I just need a real quick restroom break, so I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, so let's go ahead and hop into our first game of the last series here. Again, this is Protoss versus Protoss. We've got SC2 Airs going up against Shantisquan. Right, and we've got... Oops. But not played in top versus bottom, so we have the dark blue on Shakuris. Protoss, SC2 Airs, spawning in the top middle of Ascension, and in the bottom right, we have Shantisquan spawning as the yellow Protoss. And I've come to accept the fact that if these are the colors the players have chosen and not random colors, that we will be having another game on a Shakuris map with dark blue color. Again, as another reminder, please play your games in top versus bottom, so that as casters, we can change the colors if we need to red versus blue instead of yellow versus yellow, especially in mirror matchups. So question in the chat, was the Zerg vs Zerg 2-0? Yes, it was. Have the in-base pylons from both players, the scouts going out, gracefully passing by each other. Does that color change not work for the one-on-one mode? I have not tested it, so I'm not sure. I think if you do, so like if you're playing ranked ladder games on Battle.net, I believe it does the game mode as top versus bottom. And I know for a fact that it works there, but yeah, and then someone else in chat saying, yeah, it does not work for anything but top versus bottom, so yeah, top versus bottom is the mode that you would want to do for that. Although one thing that can kind of suck is like if you, so a little tip, if you want to play practice games and you don't want it to count against like your custom games record, you can use map settings. But again, you won't have the ability to shift tab, but if they're just practice games, it's probably not that big of a deal. So yeah, the chat noticing like what happened to those probes, they all drilled. Yeah, I don't see anything there, so that might have just been like a, you know, misselect and misclick type of scenario there. But yeah, I think these top patches aren't being mined because of that like drill that happened. It sort of clustered all of the probes down into this bottom half of the mineral line. And there's a sneaky probe here. I don't know if it's going to really like do much, but it will be able to get some scouting in for later, and it does get found by SC2 Airs. SC2 Airs noticed that probe came in and didn't leave, so it's not going to be able to do much. Going to go ahead and just get some scouting now. Both players going for their range upgrade here. SC2 Airs just throwing down, I think their third pylon now, which Shanta Squad has not done just yet. Getting that Dragoon out a little bit later as well. Perhaps as a result of that worker drill that happened there. Yeah, that, so, yeah, as Chad is talking about, something that can throw players off is that when you play in top versus bottom, the default chat mode is allies. So you do have to hit shift enter or change the chat default mode at some point in the game. So whenever I'm casting these, if it's played in top versus bottom and I don't see a GG, I assume probably what happened is they sent it to allies instead of to all. So, you know, like that can take a little bit of getting used to. But the top versus bottom does really help with the casting, because like this dark blue is a little bit hard to see on the minimap on this like background, and even I think like the normal blue can be a little bit tricky to see too, or well, not really. Like the red and blue that gets used for top versus bottom is pretty nice on the Shakuras background, or like the terrain. Something you could do is, if you forget about the shift enter stuff, you could try to make it a habit where you send your workers, and then after you produce your first worker, go ahead and just change the default text or the default send message from allies to all, which you can do. Can't show it in the replay viewer here, but it's one of the buttons that's just above the minimap. And while we're actually just talking about like sort of the split and everything, can we just talk about how weird it is with your worker starting up top at this spawn? It's always so weird to me. I mean, it makes sense why it's done, and it's good that it's done, but like, it's just not used to it. It looks like we're getting the Observer here from Shantisquan. And we're getting a, oh shoot, I forget the name. What is it? The Support Bay. So we do have Dark Templar out for SC2 Heirs, but with the Observer out, I don't think they're really going to be able to do too much. So it looks like Shantisquan has gone for the play that will let them survive in the game. I'm not sure if I don't think they actually scouted that this was going to be DTs, but good move on their part to keep themselves alive here. We do have the first Reaver on the way out as these Dark Templar make their way across the map. Again, they should be met here with an army that has an Observer. And they're just not going to be able to really get much done. Going ahead and taking some shots, being forced to back off already. And the Invisible Men with capes are forced to retreat for now. But SC2 Heirs is still in a good position. They have their natural. We've got equal worker counts here between the two. Shantisquan is up a little bit on supply, but I think that may be partially because the I think the Reaver takes 4 supply, if I'm not mistaken. And so if that's the case, that's probably explains the supply disparity. Though with only the one base, SC2 Heirs is starting to grow that worker lead. And will also just have a significantly better economy. I feel like Shantisquan could move this army up and go ahead and take the natural, but instead they're choosing to continue on this one base play. The Dark Templar are taking a vacation over here, I guess. Maybe we'll see them try and do some surprise later. It's interesting to the pylon ring here. Given that full vision of the map, so we'll see, or not of the map, but of the base, we do see shuttle now coming in. So just won't be able to see from like the cliffs, but should have pretty good notice of this shuttle trying to get into that main if it does so. Looks like SC2 Heirs is planning on taking their third base pretty soon here, while Shantisquan is going to go ahead and move out here, perhaps to take their second. They went and got 2 Reavers before they got their first shuttle, so see what they decide to do here. Shuttle now is looking like it's going to take a really weird angle in there at this juncture, because you're going to have to cross over this natural, which if your opponent has taken, the army is most likely to be there. So I'm not sure what Heirs' plan is with that shuttle. There's the Nexus being thrown down for the third. Both players playing kind of in the dark at the moment. There's only the one Observer for Shantisquan. They didn't get a second one to like post. Oh, and the shuttle gonna get caught and taken down. So that was a very, very awkward angle for Heirs to try there. But did see the army of Shantisquan and did see that move out. But Heirs doesn't have any observers or any real like way of forward scouting. The army having a little bit of trouble working their way through that and gonna get caught. Nice arc here forming for Shantisquan. The Reavers getting down. Their Scarabs not being too effective just yet, going after those Zealots instead of the Dragoons, but forcing the army of Heirs back. There was just too much there, and the nice arc for Shantisquan. Gonna go ahead, force these Dragoons through this tiny hole again. And now the question is, what does Shantisquan do from here? Shantisquan gonna try and push the issue? This is kind of risky, trying to go through that really tight, narrow choke there. But now Heirs is trying to move through it. And oh, nice Scarab shots there, forcing Heirs back. Took a lot of damage, and now Shantisquan trying to move through that. I don't like these players trying to move through that tiny space. Gotta get those lifted before they can get sniped there. I think Shantisquan realizing it's not that great of an idea to try and push through this, but Air's trying to push through it again. The shuttle, the Reaver shuttle, a little bit away from the army, but really, Shantisquan should be able to clean up these Zealots pretty easily. And chat saying he might not know he can go the other way around. I know earlier in the season, there were some players that were a little bit thrown off with this map because it does have like the two entrances essentially into the space that's in front of your natural choke. And so like players didn't quite realize, oh, I could be attacked from that angle. So that is a possibility. I don't think I've seen any games with Shantisquan in them yet. I don't know if this is their first game this season, like their first official game this season. Ayers was trying to push out again into this space, but it's just not a good idea to do that. This Dragoon's Brood War AI goes out to its death. Very unfortunate to see for Ayers there. But the supplies are pretty even. Shantisquan confirming this is their third game. Okay, yeah, if you haven't really played on Ascension, it is a little bit of a funky map. So I could totally see, you know, fixating on this particular path and not realizing, you know, the wider path that is available. Shantisquan is building up the force here, is starting now to move over to this left onto this high ground. A small detachment of Zealots did make it out though earlier for Ayers, but trying to form an Archon here, but if Shantisquan moves forward here, they could catch this off guard. So they are gathering their forces just for that. Archon's gonna finish in time though, but these Zealots are gonna find this space, but there's some nice Dragoons here at the main, and so they might be able to disrupt this natural a bit, but the Dragoons should be able to move up and clean this. Meanwhile, we do have the forces of Shantisquan kind of trying to push in here. Does need to pull back a little bit, but these Reavers need to get these shots off on the Dragoons. Doing some good work rebuilding those Scarabs. Shantisquan is holding it strong. They held the aggression at their natural, forcing the army here of Ayers to fall back. Looks like we've got reinforcements coming out now. This little step back there by Shantisquan. And yeah, with that, Ayers is going to go ahead and give the GG with this move into the third here. Very well played by Shantisquan. Nice addition of the Reavers as well. Shantisquan is going to go up 1-0 in this series, so we'll go ahead and get into the next game. Which will be on Polaris Rhapsody. Wait, actually, Shantisquan, a quick question. When you say your third game, does that mean like third matchup? So this is the third week that you're playing, or do you mean like, you know, you've had a 2-game series and then this is that was your actual third game? Because I just realized I may have interpreted what you said wrong. So to start game 2 here of this series, we have Ayers spawning as the dark blue. So we did get the same colors. Protoss up at the top left of the map. Shantisquan spawning as the yellow Protoss down in the bottom right. And with the fancy Nexus too. I love it. The pre-order Nexus, I believe that is. Third best of 3 this season. Okay. So I did misinterpret what you were saying a little incorrectly. Because yeah, really, this is week 4. So that means you've played 3/4 of the season. Which is a pretty good game record. I guess I must have... I'm not sure how many weeks of Cheese Police have actually cast. I must have like picked the week that you didn't play or something. But yeah, there's still a lot of new names that I'm seeing. Like, this is my first season in Oh yeah, and that's right. Cheese Police has skipped 1 week. They got their bye already. That's right. But yeah, like this is my first season in the CPL. I'm having a blast in it. So there's like every face just about is new to me. But casting has really helped me with getting more familiar with the people that are in the league, the different people on the different teams and everything. So my original plan was to just be a player this season. I'm really glad that Set Zero was able to essentially talk me into casting with when I was watching his casts, be like, hey, we need casters and everything. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. Because I have casting experience from other avenues, the Student StarCraft AI tournament. But I was thinking, no, it's my first season and I'll just play. But I'm really glad I got to do this because it's been great to get to learn the community and the members and everything through doing this. But enough about that. Let's get back into the game here. We do have the EVP opening where both players are doing the same thing so far. We have not seen a deviation just yet. Actually, both players doing the same things at like the exact same moments. Oh, but now we do have a slight deviation. We have a Zealot coming out, or Shanta Squat in here. Oh, and Nerf, so you'll see there's a little bit of a questioning of how exactly your name is supposed to be pronounced during the cast of your games. I wasn't sure if it's supposed to be Nerf InGen, Nerf InGen, or some other way of breaking up the word. But since I've just realized that you're here now, if you want to clarify. Both players here going for speed, going for that first Dragoon. Okay, there's the probe production from Airs, delayed a little bit there. What? I guess without range, Dragoon really can't hit that probe. It's like, it's right there. There you go, Dragoon. Oh boy. Oh. Forgot I had turned off the vision before Shanta's Quan there. We have the Dragoons moving out for Airs. Looks like Airs maybe going to take their natural behind this. 400 minerals hitting. Go ahead and taking that natural. I like that move. Does need to be a little bit careful since these are their only 2 Dragoons at the moment, but it's based off a wrong spelling from the German word nerve. So try your best German. I don't know German at all, so that's nerve. So like, yeah, I'm not even gonna try because I'm just gonna butcher. I'm gonna continue with Nerf InGen. So I guess like nerve. Trying to think of like if it's nerve. Is the F supposed to be? So the F is replacing the V. That's gonna throw me for a loop here. But we do have the Dragoons here, which are going to delay this natural, but the way that Shanta Squan's been playing, I don't think they are really looking to take that natural quickly. And by the time they're ready to take it, I think they're going to be able to bust what's down here. But the E sounds very different. Okay. Because, yeah, the way it makes me, like, just looking at it as a native English speaker, I see it as, like, nerf as in, like, you know, making something weaker. Like, when they nerf an ability or something in a game or a unit. Oh, okay, so the G is not like a J, so that would be like Nerfingen? Nerfingen? Almost like finger? Nerfingen, because that was another way I was thinking it might be able to be said. Okay. Now here we do have a little bit of engagement here. Shantasquan poking out a little bit, but recognizing, you know, that they can't really get a good arc, so they're better off just holding this ramp for right now. And it looks like Airs is going to go for some Reaver play of their own, but is really hurting for minerals right now. Okay, they did. No, they didn't start the Reaver. But they started the shuttle. Okay. So something I've seen, I think it was Set Zero, or some Protoss player in a cast was mentioning, like, if you're going to go for shuttles and Reavers, you can start your shuttle before the robotics support bay is finished, because you can only produce one at a time, the shuttle or the Reaver. So if you get the shuttle while this is still constructing or warping in, however you want to word it, you know, then that's just much less time where you could be building the Reaver that you're building a shuttle. But gonna get that shuttle, maybe start the Reaver soon? That Reaver started yet? Not quite. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and pick up the Zealots. So this support bay, okay, they are Airs is researching the shuttle speed, so the support bay is doing something for them, other than just sitting there and looking pretty. But for some reason pulling the Dragoons all the way back, it seems a bit unusual. If you're gonna drop in with the Zealots, which is presumably going to pull this army back, I would think that you'd want your army still stationed out here. But it looks like after pulling back, they're going to go ahead and move those Dragoons back forward. We do have the shuttle here trying to drop and do some stuff, but with the army right there, essentially, like, this drop's not going to do much with just Zealots. It's going to be cleaned up easily, and I don't think there was even a probe killed, unfortunately, for Airs, so... I think that's something that I've seen some players do, and I've done as well myself, is sort of tunnel visioning into a plan that's not necessarily going to work for the situation. Sometimes it works out in a way where it doesn't really hurt you, but it also didn't benefit you. And sometimes it works in a way where it ends up hurting you. So like that's 400, actually, like, I think shuttles are 200 minerals. They're pretty expensive units if I remember right. Unfortunately, that pylon placement, they're blocking a couple of probes in. But that's a lot of minerals and build time that just got spent for nothing there. If your opponent's army is in the base that you're dropping, unless it's like a high explosive unit like a Reaver that you're dropping, you're probably not going to get a whole lot there. And so that can be like, you know, maybe, you know, and again, I don't know, I can't speak for Airs on this, but just kind of speaking in generals, you know, if Airs' plan in this game was, you know, I'm going to get this shuttle, I'm going to try and do some drops, and then the opponent stays on that one base, and it's like, well, this is my plan, I'm going to keep going for it. You know, that can kind of cause issues if you're not adapting to what the opponent is doing. And like I said, that can... Sometimes it doesn't impact you, depending on what, like, the plan is that you're tunnel visioning into. Like, it could just maybe draw out a game, because maybe if you had adjusted, you could have killed your opponent faster. But sometimes it can also mean that you're throwing away units and money that you really did not need to throw away there. Here we go, Shantasquan going ahead and getting the natural set up. And Airs going ahead getting their third up. And I like this. So in game one, I mentioned how both players were kind of playing blind. Airs is sort of playing blind at the moment too. Does have more forward-facing goons, but there are some paths, this path now getting closed up, where Shantisquan could move out and heirs would be completely unaware. But Shantisquan with their observer this time, and perhaps feeling more free to do this since there's no Dark Templar out on the field, but going ahead and scouting with this observer to see what heirs is up to. Does see, okay, heirs has gone up to 3 bases. Now this might be a little bit of an issue for Shantisquan, but there's really not a whole lot here, so heirs being forced to retreat and give up this bridge. That bridge very narrow, hard to push across, but just not enough there for heirs to really hold it. But heirs could hold this bridge. So Shantisquan tries to push across it. This could go badly for them. We'll see here in this engagement, it looks like a shuttle going out for heirs again with a drop. Now this is a time when you might want to try a drop when your army's bridge, or sorry, when your enemy's army is out on the map, definitely away from home. You might be able to pull something off with a drop then. But it looks like Shantisquan is going to go ahead and place up on this bridge and then go with a contingent here. I like this move. Force heirs to have to try and come defend this third. And then when they do move across the bridge, I like this. Shantisquan with the observers able to see this going on. But unfortunately, because these Reavers are so slow, the Reavers are there to pick off some of the army. So this move across the bridge might not quite work. And heirs is able to save this third. It looks like at least one gateway did have to get canceled. So the execution not quite there for Shantisquan in this move. Maybe it's not quite over yet. The shuttles are still both alive. I think the Zealot drop did happen, but may not have done much. And uh-oh. Is there an okay. There are 3 observers out, but they're just kind of clumped in the main. Hopefully Heirs knows where those are, because we do have Dark Templar out now for Shantisquan. I believe I saw a Dark Templar. Yeah, okay, there it is. I thought it was going to be up in that pack, but now it's with the... Am I on the Dragoon? I want to be on the Dark Templar. On the Dark Templar here. Shantisquan looking to be repositioning here. There's like 3 shuttles here, but they don't really have much in them. Actually, I have nothing in them. So... Heirs trying to reinforce there. And yeah, Heirs is going to push this army back with this Dark Templar. There are these observers here, but they're not moving into position. That Dark Templar did have to kind of chase. I would love to see this Dark Templar go after this Reaver. Target the Reaver. Yes, there you go. Get those juicy hits on it. The attack up at the third was able to be cleaned up, but now Shantisquan could actually move across this bridge, but instead is going to go and face the army. Excuse me, pardon me, sorry, of heirs. The shuttle almost running into the reinforcement, stopping just short. Shantisquan continuing with this 2-pronged attack, but finds nothing on the other side of this bridge. The observers for heirs did come out now, though. But there's just not enough there to stop this, and now the third is going to fall. Looks like the natural is going to struggle as well. And with that, Shantisquan is going to take the win and give a sweep for the Cheese Police in Tier 3 for Week 4 up against Pacific Fire. Again, there was a walkover. I don't know for which team that walkover was decided, so I don't know if the final score here was 4-1 or 5-0 for Cheese Police, but very well played by the Cheese Police. And that's not to... you know, say that Pacific Fire didn't play good as well. There are definitely some great games and series in this matchup. And so we're wrapping things up here. It is 12 p.m. So U-Round, are you still in chat U-Round, or? I'm not sure, because so we have coming up in an hour, if you want to continue with the CPL coverage U-Round is going to be casting the tier 2 between these two teams. So that should be a lot of exciting to watch, and continue to be able to see the same teams pitted against each other here. So I do recommend going to that. I don't believe he started yet, as it's still about an hour out. If we had ended a little bit later, if we had that like 5th series, I probably could have given a raid over to him. But so I'll go ahead and post the link to his Twitch here, just in case you're not following it. It should also get announced in the CPL Discord. /U-Round. Let me make sure that I got that right. Awesome, I did. So there will be that to look forward to today. And then if you want to watch some Diablo 2 Resurrected, I will be playing that around the same time. I recommend, if you want the CPL coverage, go watch the cast by U-Round first, because I'll be doing the Diablo 2 Resurrected play probably for a good while. So you can always come join in that after U-Round's cast if you want. But unfortunately, I just can't give the raid to U-Round at the moment since he's not live. Oh, the walkover was for Pacific Fire? Okay. Cool. So then in the end, it kind of went 4-1 for Pacific Fire there. Or sorry, for Cheese Police. In the end. Cool. Thank you for looking that up. But with that, I'm going to close up here for now. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Thank everybody for the follows. Very much appreciated. For those of you that are going to be around for the Diablo 2 play, I will see you in about a little under an hour. And for the rest, going over to the CPL cast at 1 with U-Round. We will see you there. Until next time, take care.